The darkness pressed against Amara Johnson's face like a heavy blanket, thick and suffocating. She couldn't move her legs anymore. The cramping had started an hour ago, maybe two. Time had lost all meaning in this wooden prison. Her fingers scraped against the rough interior of the shipping crate as the truck hit another bump, sending a sharp pain through her spine. The smell of sawdust and motor oil made her stomach turn. She tried to shift her weight, but there was nowhere to go. Her knees were pressed against her chest, her neck bent at an angle that made every breath an effort. Sweat dripped down her temples despite the cold seeping through the thin walls. Her green cotton dress, the one she'd grabbed in her panic, was now damp and clinging to her skin. The memory of 3 hours ago played in her mind like a horror film she couldn't pause. Her uncle's face, twisted with rage, his hand gripping her arm hard enough to leave bruises. "You will marry Richard Pemberton. This is not a discussion, Amara. Your parents' estate needs this merger." Behind him, Richard Pemberton, a man twice her age with cold eyes and a cruel smile, had nodded his approval. The marriage license was already drawn up. The ceremony was scheduled for the next morning. She had run out the back door, through the garden, into the industrial area where her friend worked at a shipping company. "Please," she'd begged Terrence, her former classmate. "I need to disappear. Just for a few days." He'd looked at her torn dress, her wild eyes, and asked no questions. He'd found this crate, marked for a residential delivery across the state. "It's going to a mansion," he'd whispered. "Rich people. They might help you." Now, as the truck's engine finally cut off, Amara wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake. What if they just left the crate in a warehouse? What if no one opened it for days? She had no water, no phone, no way to call for help. Her breathing quickened, panic rising in her throat like bile. Then she heard voices. Muffled at first, then clearer. "Daddy, look. There's another box." A child's voice, high and excited. "Sweetheart, that's for the garden supplies. Come on, let's go inside." A man's voice, deep and tired. "But Daddy, I want to see. Please." The little girl sounded closer now. "Lily Rose, it's just boring stuff. Clay pots and soil. I want to see the pots. Maybe there's a pretty one for my flowers." Amara's heart hammered. This was it. Her only chance. She gathered every bit of strength left in her exhausted body and kicked the side of the crate. What? Twice. The wood creaked but didn't break. "Daddy, did you hear that?" The little girl's voice was right outside now. "Hear what, baby?" The box moved. "Look." Amara kicked again, harder. Her foot crashed through a weak panel and splinters flew. Light poured in, blinding after hours of darkness. She heard a man's sharp intake of breath. "Step back, Lily Rose. Now." His voice had changed, protective and alert. "But Daddy, someone's in there." The child sounded more excited than scared. Strong hands gripped the edges of the crate and pulled. The wood groaned and gave way. Fresh air hit Amara's face like a blessing. She blinked against the bright sunlight, trying to focus. A tall figure loomed above her, backlit by the afternoon sun. "Please," she croaked, her voice raw from thirst. "Please help me." The man crouched down and his face came into focus. He was in his mid-30s, with dark hair, strong features, and eyes that showed more concern than suspicion. Behind him stood a little girl, no more than 6, with curly hair held back by a blue headband. Her eyes were wide with wonder, not fear. "Daddy, it's a lady," Lily Rose breathed. Then, before her father could respond, she clasped her hands together and looked up at the sky. "God sent Mommy back. You sent Mommy back to us." "Lily Rose, that's not." The man started, but the little girl was already reaching toward Amara. "Are you hurt?" He asked Amara directly, his voice gentle but urgent. "Can you move?" Amara tried to straighten her legs and gasped at the pain. Everything hurt. Her muscles screamed in protest. Tears spilled down her cheeks, not just from physical pain but from overwhelming relief. She was out. She was free. "I can't, my legs," she whispered. Without hesitation, the man reached into the crate. "I'm going to lift you out. Is that okay?" He waited for her nod before sliding one arm under her knees and another behind her back. He lifted her as if she weighed nothing, carrying her away from the broken crate and toward a house that looked like something from a dream. The mansion rose before them, all white stone and tall windows, surrounded by manicured gardens. A fountain bubbled in the circular driveway. This was where the crate had been delivered? This beautiful place? "Lily Rose, run inside and tell Mrs. Chin to bring water and the first aid kit to the guest room," the man instructed his daughter. "Now please." The little girl hesitated, still staring at Amara with those wide, hopeful eyes. Is she staying with us, Daddy? We'll figure that out. Go on, baby. Lily Rose ran toward the house, her small legs pumping fast. The man looked down at Amara as he walked. I'm Jackson Montgomery. You're safe now. I promise. Whatever you're running from, you're safe here. Amara wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust this stranger who held her so carefully, who didn't demand explanations, who simply offered help. But trust had been beaten out of her over the past 3 months since her parents died, since her uncle had taken control of everything. I'm Amara, she managed. Amara Johnson. Okay, Amara. Let's get you inside and checked out. Then when you're ready, you can tell me what happened. No pressure. Just you're safe. That's what matters right now. They reached a side entrance, and Jackson carried her through a mudroom into a bright, warm kitchen. A woman in her 50s appeared, her face showing alarm at the sight of them. Mr. Montgomery, what on earth? Mrs. Chin, this is Amara. She was trapped in that delivery crate outside. Can you help me get her comfortable in the downstairs guest room? And call Dr. Peters. Tell him it's urgent but not life-threatening. Mrs. Chin didn't waste time with questions. She grabbed a bottle of water from the refrigerator and hurried ahead of them down a hallway. Lily Rose appeared again, bouncing on her toes. I got the big first aid kit, Daddy. The one with all the band-aids. Good job, sweetheart. Now give us a few minutes, okay? But I want to help. Lily Rose protested. Jackson's voice was firm but kind. You did help. You found her, remember? But now the grown-ups need to make sure she's not hurt. You can see her soon. They entered a beautiful room with pale yellow walls and a large bed covered in a white comforter. Jackson lowered Amara onto the bed as gently as if she were made of glass. Mrs. Chin immediately handed her the water bottle. Small sips, the older woman instructed. Not too fast or you'll be sick. Amara obeyed even though every cell in her body wanted to gulp the entire bottle at once. The water was cool and perfect, soothing her parched throat. Jackson pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. His expression was serious but not unkind. Amara, I need to ask you some important questions. Are you in immediate danger? Is someone going to come looking for you here? The fear must have shown on her face because he quickly added, if the answer is yes, that's okay. We'll deal with it. I just need to know what we're facing. Amara set down the water bottle with shaking hands. She looked at this man who had carried her to safety, who was offering help without demanding anything in return. She thought of his little girl's face, so full of innocent hope. She thought of the alternative, going back to her uncle, being forced into a marriage that would destroy her. Yes, she whispered. My uncle. He's looking for me. He wants to force me to marry someone. For money. For business. I ran away. Jackson's jaw tightened. How old are you, Amara? 23. And this uncle, he has legal guardianship over you? She shook her head. No. My parents died 3 months ago. Car accident. I inherited everything. But my uncle controls it all until I turn 25 or get married. So he arranged a marriage to his business partner, Richard Pemberton. He's 46 years old and her voice broke. He looks at me like I'm property he already owns. Mrs. Chin made a disgusted sound. Jackson's face darkened with anger, but when he spoke, his voice was calm. That's not going to happen. You're not going back there. You're going to stay here as long as you need to, and we're going to figure this out legally. I have lawyers. Good ones. We'll make sure you're protected. I can't ask you to do that, Amara protested weakly. You don't even know me. You're not asking. I'm offering. And before you argue, let me be clear. This isn't charity. This is basic human decency. Someone put you in a box, Amara. A box. That tells me everything I need to know about how desperate you were. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to rest. Dr. Peters is going to check you over. Then you're going to have a hot meal. Tomorrow we'll talk about the details and make a plan. Does that work for you? Amara felt tears sliding down her face again. She was so tired of crying but she couldn't stop. Why are you doing this? Jackson glanced toward the door where Lily Rose was surely hovering in the hallway. Because 2 years ago I lost my wife. And I remember what it felt like to be in a dark place with no way out. If someone had offered me a hand then, I would have taken it. So I'm offering you mine. Take it, Amara. Don't try to do this alone. Before she could respond, Lily Rose burst into the room, unable to contain herself any longer. She ran to the side of the bed and looked up at Amara with those huge, hopeful eyes. Are you really staying with us? Daddy said maybe you could stay. I have so much to show you. I have a treehouse and an art room and a garden where we grow tomatoes. Do you like tomatoes? I do. And my name is Lily Rose, but everyone calls me Lily Rose, not just Lily. What's your name? Lily Rose, let her breathe, Jackson said with a hint of amusement in his voice. But Amara found herself smiling through her tears. My name is Amara. And I love tomatoes. Lily Rose beamed. I knew it. I knew God would send someone nice. She reached out and touched Amara's hand carefully as if she might break. Your hands are dirty. Mrs. Chin can help you take a bath. She makes the water smell like flowers. Do you like flowers? I do, Amara whispered. Then you'll love it here. We have so many flowers. Daddy plants them he plants lots of them. The little girl's voice caught, and suddenly she looked much older than 6. He says Mommy loved flowers. Jackson pulled his daughter close. She did, baby. Lily Rose looked back at Amara. My mommy died. But now you're here. So maybe you can stay? Please? Have you ever felt so desperate that you'd hide in a box just to escape? What would you have done in Amara's situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more chapters of this story. Your support means everything, and I want to hear what you think happens next. The room fell silent. Amara looked at this little girl who had already been through so much loss, who was now looking at a complete stranger with such open hope. She looked at Jackson, who watched her with patient understanding. She thought about the crate outside, about her uncle's angry face, about Richard Pemberton's cold smile. And then she thought about the possibility of something different. Something better. I would like that very much, Amara said softly. If it's really okay. It's really okay, Jackson confirmed. Welcome to the Montgomery house, Amara Johnson. For as long as you need it. Mrs. Chin cleared her throat. I'll run that bath now. And I'm making chicken soup for dinner. No arguments. As the older woman left the room, Lily Rose climbed carefully onto the bed next to Amara, settling in as if they'd known each other forever. Jackson started to protest, but Amara found herself reaching for the little girl's hand. It's okay, she said. I don't mind. Lily Rose snuggled closer. You're going to love it here. I just know it. This is the best day ever. Amara closed her eyes, feeling the softness of the bed beneath her, the warmth of the child beside her, the safety of this unexpected refuge. For the first time in 3 months she felt like she could breathe. Really breathe. Whatever came next, whatever challenges she still had to face, at least for this moment, she was exactly where she needed to be. The hot bath had felt like heaven. Mrs. Chin had been right about the flower scent, something light and sweet that made Amara's whole body relax. She'd soaked until her fingers pruned, letting the heat seep into her cramped muscles. The housekeeper had provided soft clothes, a pair of lavender cotton pants and a matching loose shirt that felt like clouds against her skin. Dr. Peters, a kind man in his 60s, had examined her thoroughly. Dehydration, muscle strain, some bruising, but nothing that won't heal, he'd announced. Rest, fluids, and gentle movement over the next few days. You're a lucky young woman. Lucky. The word felt strange. But as Amara sat in the bright kitchen that evening, a bowl of Mrs. Chen's promised chicken soup steaming in front of her, she thought maybe it was true. Maybe hiding in that crate had been the luckiest decision of her life. Lily Rose sat beside her, chattering away about everything and nothing. And this is where we eat breakfast every morning. Well, not every morning. Sometimes we eat in the dining room when Daddy has work people over. But I like the kitchen better. It's warmer. And Mrs. Chin makes pancakes on Saturdays. Do you like pancakes? I love pancakes. Especially with blueberries. Lily Rose, eat your soup before it gets cold, Jackson said from across the table. He'd changed into comfortable jeans and a blue sweater, looking less like the businessman who'd rescued her and more like a regular dad. Except there was nothing regular about him. Every time Amara glanced his way, she caught him watching her with a mixture of concern and something else she couldn't quite name. I'm eating and talking, Lily Rose protested. Mrs. Chin says I'm an excellent multitasker. Excellent, Jackson corrected gently. And Mrs. Chen was being generous. The little girl giggled and took a spoonful of soup. Amara found herself smiling. The normalcy of this moment, this simple family dinner, felt like something from another life. Her own childhood had been full of moments like these, before her parents died. Before everything fell apart. Penny for your thoughts? Jackson asked. Amara looked up, realizing she'd been staring into her soup. Sorry? I was just thinking, this reminds me of dinner with my parents. Before. Tell us about them, Jackson suggested. If you want to. Did she want to? Amara had spent the last 3 months avoiding those memories because they hurt too much. But something about this warm kitchen and these kind people made her want to share. My mom was a teacher. 2nd grade. She loved kids. She would have adored you, Amara said, looking at Lily Rose. And my dad was an engineer. He designed bridges. He used to tell me that he built connections, bringing people together across divides. That's beautiful, Jackson said softly. They were coming home from dinner. Their anniversary. A drunk driver ran a red light. Amara's voice stayed steady, surprising herself. They died at the scene. The police said it was instant. No pain. I tell myself that helps, but I don't know if it does. Lily Rose reached over and patted Amara's hand. My mommy died too. She got sick. Really, really sick. The doctors tried everything but nothing worked. Daddy says she's in heaven now, watching over us. I'm sure she is, Amara said, squeezing the little girl's hand. Maybe your mommy and daddy are there too. Maybe they're all friends now. The simple logic of a child's faith brought fresh tears to Amara's eyes. Maybe they are. Jackson cleared his throat. Lily Rose, why don't you go pick out a book for bedtime? Amara and I need to talk about some grown-up things. Can Amara read to me tonight? Lily Rose asked hopefully. If she's not too tired, Jackson said, looking to Amara for confirmation. I'd love to, Amara agreed. The idea of something normal, something good and simple like reading a bedtime story appealed to her deeply. Lily Rose bounced out of her chair and ran from the room, her footsteps echoing down the hallway. Jackson waited until the sound faded before speaking. I need to know more about your situation, he said. Not to pry but to help. My lawyer, Patricia Reeves, is coming by tomorrow morning. She's tough, smart, and she specializes in family law and estate issues. But I need to give her the full picture. Can you do that? Amara nodded. She'd known this conversation was coming. My parents left me everything. Their house, savings, my dad's business shares, my mom's family property. It's worth about $2 million total. In their will, they named my uncle Warren Johnson as the trustee until I turned 25. They thought they had time to change it. They'd made that will when I was 16 and my uncle was different then. Responsible. Caring. What changed? Jackson asked. His business failed. He lost everything in bad investments. When my parents died, he saw an opportunity. At first, I didn't realize what was happening. He was helping me plan the funeral, handling the estate paperwork, being supportive. Then about 6 weeks ago, he introduced me to Richard Pemberton. Amara wrapped her hands around her soup bowl, needing the warmth. Richard is his business partner in some new venture. Something about real estate development. My uncle told me that Richard was interested in me, that he was a good man, a stable choice. I said I wasn't interested in dating. My parents had just died. But my uncle kept pushing. Then last week he told me the truth. He'd already arranged a marriage. The papers were drawn up. If I married Richard, my uncle would retain control of the estate as part of a business merger. They'd worked it all out. And if you refused? Jackson's voice was tight with barely controlled anger. He said I'd be cut off. That he'd freeze all the accounts, sell the properties, tie everything up in legal battles until I was 25. By then there wouldn't be anything left. He said Richard was my only option for security. That I should be grateful someone like him would even want me. Jackson pushed back from the table abruptly and walked to the window, his hands clenched at his sides. When he spoke, his voice was carefully controlled. That's financial coercion. Possibly fraud. Definitely grounds for removing him as trustee. Patricia will have a field day with this. But will it work? Amara asked. He has all the legal documents. He's my blood relative. I'm just a young woman trying to break a legal trust arrangement. Jackson turned back to face her. You're a young woman who was put in a shipping crate to escape a forced marriage. That's going to matter to a judge. Trust me, Amara. We're going to fight this and we're going to win. The certainty in his voice made her want to believe him. Why are you doing this? Really? You could have just called the police, let them handle it. He was quiet for a moment, then came back to the table and sat down. 2 years ago when my wife Claire was sick, I felt helpless. Completely helpless. I had all the money in the world, access to the best doctors, every resource imaginable, and I couldn't save her. After she died, I was drowning. My business partner Trevor kept the company running. Mrs. Chin kept Lily Rose fed and safe. I just existed. Then one day, about 6 months after the funeral, I was at a coffee shop and I saw a woman getting harassed by her ex-boyfriend. He was grabbing her arm, not letting her leave. Everyone around them was looking away, pretending not to see. So I walked over and asked if she needed help. She said yes. We called the police together and waited until they arrived. It was such a small thing, but it reminded me that I could still make a difference. That helping someone else helped me too. He met Amara's eyes. You needed help. I was in a position to provide it. It's really that simple. And honestly, Lily Rose hasn't smiled this much in months. So maybe you're helping us as much as we're helping you. Before Amara could respond, Lily Rose's voice called from upstairs. I found the perfect book. Come on, I'm ready. Jackson smiled. Duty calls. Are you sure you're up for this? I can read to her if you're too tired. I want to, Amara insisted, standing up. Her legs were still sore, but the rest and food had helped tremendously. Where's her room? Top of the stairs, second door on the right. I'll clean up here and join you in a bit. Amara made her way upstairs, taking in the beautiful house around her. Family photos lined the walls, mostly of Jackson, Lily Rose, and a beautiful woman with kind eyes who must have been Claire. Amara paused at one picture. Claire was laughing, her arms wrapped around a younger Lily Rose. The joy in the image was almost tangible. That's my mommy, Lily Rose said from her bedroom doorway. She was really pretty, right? Very pretty, Amara agreed. You look like her. Daddy says I have her smile. Come see my room. It's my favorite place in the whole house. The bedroom was painted a soft pink with white furniture and shelves full of books and toys. Drawings covered one wall, held up with colorful pushpins. A large window overlooked the garden, now dark in the evening light. Lily Rose climbed into bed, which was covered with a quilt decorated with flowers. She patted the space beside her. You can sit here. This is where Daddy usually sits. Amara settled onto the edge of the bed and took the book Lily Rose handed her. The Secret Garden. This is a wonderful story. It's about a girl who finds a hidden garden and makes it beautiful again, Lily Rose explained. I like it because she's sad at first but then she gets happy. Have you read it before? Many times. It was one of my favorites when I was your age. Then you'll read it really good. Can we start at chapter 3? Daddy and I already read the first 2 chapters. They read together for 20 minutes, Lily Rose occasionally interrupting to comment on the story or ask questions. Amara found herself relaxing into the rhythm of it, enjoying the weight of the child leaning against her shoulder, the simple pleasure of sharing a story. Jackson appeared in the doorway just as they finished the chapter. Time for sleep, Lily Rose? But we just got to the good part, the little girl protested. Tomorrow night, Jackson promised. Say goodnight to Amara. Lily Rose threw her arms around Amara's neck in a sudden, fierce hug. Thank you for reading to me. And thank you for staying. I'm really happy you're here. Amara hugged her back, something warm expanding in her chest. I'm happy to be here too. She stood up and Jackson took her place on the bed, tucking Lily Rose in with practiced ease. Sleep tight, baby girl. Daddy? Lily Rose's voice was small. Do you think Amara will stay for a long time? Jackson glanced at Amara, then back at his daughter. I hope so. But that's something we'll figure out together, okay? For now, just sleep. Okay. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Amara. Good night, sweetheart, Amara whispered. She and Jackson stepped into the hallway, leaving the door cracked open so a slice of light fell across Lily Rose's floor. They stood there in the quiet hallway, suddenly alone together. She's wonderful, Amara said. You're doing an amazing job with her. Most days I feel like I'm barely keeping my head above water, Jackson admitted. But she makes it easy. She's resilient. Stronger than I ever could have imagined. She gets that from you. He looked at her, something flickering in his dark eyes. Let me show you where you'll be staying. The guest room downstairs is nice, but I thought you might prefer something with more privacy. There's a room on this floor at the end of the hall. It has its own bathroom and a small sitting area. Would that work? That sounds perfect. But Jackson, I need to contribute somehow. I can't just stay here as a guest doing nothing. Let me help around the house. Or with Lily Rose. Or your business. Something. We'll figure that out, he assured her. For now, just focus on feeling safe. Everything else can wait. He led her to the end of the hallway and opened a door, revealing a beautiful room decorated in soft greens and creams. A large bed dominated the space and tall windows looked out over the garden. A door led to a private bathroom, and another opened to a small sitting area with a comfortable armchair and bookshelves. This is too much, Amara protested. It's just a room, Jackson said. One of many in this house that sits empty. You'd be doing me a favor by using it. I hate waste. She smiled at his logic. Thank you. Really. For everything. Get some rest. Patricia will be here at 10 tomorrow morning. We'll start building your case then. He turned to leave, but Amara called after him. Jackson? Lily Rose asked if I was sent by God. I know that's because she misses her mother. But I want you to know. I'll be careful with her heart. I won't let her get too attached if I have to leave. Jackson looked back at her, his expression serious. Don't worry about leaving right now. Just be here. Be present. That's all any of us can do. After he left, Amara explored her new room. Someone, probably Mrs. Chin, had already brought up a selection of clothes that would fit her. Basic items like jeans, shirts, pajamas. In the bathroom she found toiletries, towels, everything she might need. She changed into the pajamas and climbed into bed. The sheets were soft and smelled like lavender. Through the window she could see stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, her uncle was probably furious. Richard was probably calling in favors trying to track her down. But here, in this peaceful room, she felt miles away from all of that. Her phone, which she'd turned off after escaping, sat on the nightstand. She'd need to deal with it eventually. The messages and missed calls waiting there. But not tonight. Tonight she would just rest. As she drifted toward sleep, she heard Lily Rose's voice in her memory. God sent Mommy back. The little girl had been so sure, so full of hope. Amara didn't know about God or fate or divine intervention. But she knew that finding this family, being welcomed into their home, felt like more than just luck. It felt like a second chance. And she wasn't going to waste it. Morning light streamed through the windows, warm and golden. Amara woke slowly, confused for a moment about where she was. Then memory flooded back and she sat up, taking in her surroundings. The beautiful room. The Montgomery house. Safety. A soft knock on the door made her jump. Amara? Are you awake? Mrs. Chen's voice was gentle. Yes, come in. The housekeeper entered carrying a tray with coffee, orange juice, and a plate of eggs and toast. Mr. Montgomery said to let you sleep, but I thought you might be hungry. The lawyer arrives in an hour. You didn't have to bring me breakfast in bed, Amara protested, but her stomach growled at the sight of food. I wanted to. Eat up. There's also aspirin on the tray if you're still sore. After Mrs. Chen left, Amara ate quickly, then showered and dressed in jeans and a soft red sweater from the clothes provided. She studied herself in the mirror. Despite everything, she looked rested. The terror of 2 days ago had faded from her eyes, replaced by something like hope. Downstairs, she found Jackson in his study, a large room lined with bookshelves and dominated by a mahogany desk. He was on the phone, his voice professional and clipped. When he saw her in the doorway, he motioned her in. I understand, Trevor. But this is non-negotiable. I'm taking the next few weeks partially remote. Yes, I know about the Singapore deal. You can handle it. I have faith in you. Okay, I'll call you later. He hung up and smiled at Amara. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Better than I have in months. Was that your business partner? I hope I'm not causing problems. Trevor worries too much. The company will survive without me being in the office every day. Jackson gestured to a chair across from his desk. Patricia will be here soon. Before she arrives, I want to make sure you're comfortable with this. She's going to ask detailed questions. Some of them might be difficult. I'm ready, Amara said, settling into the chair. I want to fight back. Good. Because Patricia doesn't lose. As if summoned, the doorbell rang. A moment later, Mrs. Chin showed in a woman in her 50s wearing a sharp gray pantsuit. Her hair was cut short and professional, and her eyes were kind but shrewd behind wire-rimmed glasses. Patricia, this is Amara Johnson, Jackson introduced them. Amara, Patricia Reeves. Patricia shook Amara's hand with a firm grip. I've heard your situation. Let's get to work. For the next 2 hours, Patricia asked questions and took notes on her tablet. Amara explained everything in detail, her uncle's behavior, Richard Pemberton's involvement, the threats made, her escape. Patricia's expression remained neutral throughout, but occasionally she'd make a small noise of disapproval. This is a strong case, Patricia finally announced. Your uncle has violated his fiduciary duty as trustee. The coercion element is particularly damning. We'll file for emergency removal of trustee status and request a full accounting of the estate. I'll also petition for a restraining order against both Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton. How long will all this take? Amara asked. Emergency hearing may be a week. Full resolution could be a few months. But the important thing is protecting you now. Which brings me to logistics. Where will you be staying during this process? Here, Jackson said firmly. For as long as needed. Won't that complicate things? Amara worried. My uncle could claim I'm being influenced. Patricia smiled. Let him try. You're a competent adult who escaped a coercive situation and found refuge with a family friend. That's how we'll frame it. Jackson, I'll need you to provide a statement about how Amara came to be here and your willingness to provide temporary housing. Not a problem. Good. Amara, I'll need you to write down every instance of threat or coercion you can remember. Dates, times, exact words if possible. Also, the name of anyone who witnessed any of these interactions. My cousin Nicole, Amara said suddenly. She works in my uncle's office. She saw and heard things. She tried to warn me, but I didn't realize how serious it was until it was almost too late. Can you contact her? I can try. She might be scared to go against my uncle though. Let's see what she says. Sometimes people surprise you. Patricia stood and gathered her things. I'll start filing paperwork today. Don't turn your phone back on yet. If you need to contact anyone, use Jackson's phone or get a new number. We don't want them tracking your location. After Patricia left, Amara felt simultaneously relieved and overwhelmed. Jackson must have seen it in her face because he came around the desk and sat in the chair beside her. This is a lot, he acknowledged. But you're doing great. Patricia's right that this is a strong case. What if my uncle fights dirty? He has money for lawyers too. Then we fight back. Amara, I need you to understand something. I don't make promises lightly, but I'm making you one now. We're going to see this through. Together. You're not alone anymore. The word, together, settled over her like a warm blanket. She'd been alone for so long, making every decision by herself, carrying every burden. The idea of sharing that weight was almost foreign. I need to do something useful, she said. I can't just sit around waiting for legal proceedings. I'll go crazy. Jackson thought for a moment. Mrs. Chin mentioned she could use help organizing the household accounts and schedule. It's gotten chaotic since Claire died. I haven't been great at keeping up with it. Would you be interested in taking that on? I'd pay you properly for the work. I'll do it, but you don't need to pay me. Room and board is more than enough. Amara, no. If you work, you get paid. That's non-negotiable. They stared at each other for a moment, then Amara smiled. You're very stubborn. So I've been told. Do we have a deal? Deal. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Mrs. Chin showed Amara the household filing system, which was indeed chaotic. Bills, receipts, schedules, all mixed together in a way that made no organizational sense. Amara immediately saw how she could help. It's been rough since Mrs. Montgomery passed, Mrs. Chin confided as they sorted through paperwork in the kitchen. Mr. Montgomery tries, but his heart's not in the details. And I'm good at cooking and cleaning, but this stuff. She gestured helplessly at the papers. I'll get it sorted out, Amara promised. My mom taught me to organize when I was young. She said a clear system equals a clear mind. Lily Rose arrived home from school at 3, bursting through the door with her backpack bouncing. Amara, you're still here. I thought maybe I dreamed you. I'm really here, Amara assured her. Can you help me with my art project? Please? We're supposed to draw our family and I want to make mine really good. Amara glanced at Mrs. Chin, who nodded approval. Go ahead. I can finish up here. In the bright sunroom that served as Lily Rose's art space, Amara helped the little girl sketch out her family drawing. Lily Rose drew her father first, tall and smiling. Then herself holding his hand. She paused, marker hovering over the paper. Should I draw Mommy? She asked quietly. Teacher said to draw our family now, but Mommy's still my family even if she's in heaven. Amara's heart ached. I think your mommy will always be part of your family. You could draw her standing beside you, like she's watching over you. Lily Rose's face brightened. That's perfect. She carefully added Claire's figure, giving her a halo and wings. Then she looked at the remaining space on the paper. Can I draw you too? Me? You're here now. That makes you part of the family, right? Amara didn't know how to answer. She didn't want to make promises she couldn't keep, but she also didn't want to hurt this sweet child. How about you draw me over here, she suggested, pointing to a spot near the edge. Like I'm visiting. Okay. Lily Rose drew Amara in her red sweater, making sure to include her smile. When Jackson came home at 6, he found them still in the sunroom, now working on a painting. Lily Rose had convinced Amara to try watercolors, and they'd created a messy but joyful abstract piece together. Daddy, look what we made. Lily Rose held up the painting proudly. That's beautiful, sweetheart. What is it? It's happiness. See all the bright colors mixed together? That's what being happy looks like. Jackson met Amara's eyes over his daughter's head, and something passed between them. Understanding. Gratitude. Maybe something more. Dinner that evening was Chinese takeout, eaten around the kitchen table while Lily Rose recounted every detail of her school day. Afterward, they watched a nature documentary together in the living room, Lily Rose snuggled between her father and Amara on the couch. When bedtime came, Lily Rose again requested that Amara read to her. They continued The Secret Garden, and Amara found herself as invested in the story as the little girl. Jackson joined them at the end, sitting in a chair near the window. "Can I tell you a secret?" Lily Rose whispered after they'd finished reading and Jackson had tucked her in. "Of course," Amara whispered back. "I like having you here. Feels like the house isn't so sad anymore. Does that make sense?" "Perfect sense," Amara assured her. After Lily Rose fell asleep, Amara and Jackson walked downstairs together. In the kitchen, Jackson made tea while Amara organized the last of the day's paperwork. "She's getting attached," Jackson said quietly. "I probably should have anticipated that. Is that a bad thing?" Amara asked. "I don't know. What happens when this is all resolved and you?" He trailed off. "When I what?" "Leave." Amara turned to face him. "Is that what you expect me to do?" "I don't know what to expect. We've known each other for less than 48 hours. This whole situation is surreal." "It is," Amara agreed. "But Jackson, I'm not planning to leave the moment my legal issues are resolved. I don't have anywhere else to go. My parents' house is empty. I have no other family I can trust. My friends, they all drifted away after my parents died. I was dealing with so much that I pushed people away. So yes, I'll need to figure out my long-term plan eventually. But that doesn't mean I'm going to just disappear tomorrow." Jackson set down his tea mug and crossed to where she stood. "I'm glad. Selfishly, I'm really glad. Because Lily Rose isn't the only one who likes having you here." The air between them felt charged. Amara's heart sped up as she looked into his eyes. There was something there, something that scared and excited her at the same time. "This is complicated," she whispered. "Very complicated," he agreed, but he didn't step back. "I don't even know you. You know the important things. You know I'm a father first. You know I keep my promises. You know I believe in helping people. What else do you need to know?" Amara thought about that. "What's your favorite color?" He smiled. "Blue. Yours?" "Yellow. It's happy. Like Lily Rose's painting." "What else?" "What do you do? For work, I mean." "Software development and tech consulting. I started my company right out of college. We help businesses streamline their operations with custom software solutions." "That's impressive. It pays the bills. What did you want to do before everything happened?" Amara had almost forgotten she'd had dreams once. "I was in graduate school, getting my MBA. I wanted to start a nonprofit helping women in financial crisis, helping them understand their options, connect them with resources. My mom always said that financial literacy is power. That's a beautiful goal. You could still do that. Maybe. Someday." They stood there in the quiet kitchen just looking at each other. Finally, Jackson stepped back. "You should get some rest. Tomorrow we tackle the household accounts and I warn you, they're a disaster." "I love a good disaster to organize," Amara said lightly. "Good night, Amara." "Good night, Jackson." In her room, Amara changed into pajamas and climbed into bed. Through the wall, she could faintly hear Jackson moving around in his room. The master bedroom Mrs. Chen had mentioned was right next door. Somehow that knowledge made her feel safe. Her phone still sat on the nightstand, powered off. Patricia had said to wait, so she would wait. But tomorrow she'd ask about contacting Nicole. Her cousin deserved to know she was safe. And maybe, just maybe, Nicole would be willing to help. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees in the garden. Somewhere in the house, a clock chimed 10. Amara closed her eyes and let herself imagine, just for a moment, what it would be like if this wasn't temporary. If this beautiful house, this kind family could really be her home. It was a dangerous thought. But as she drifted off to sleep, she let herself have it anyway. 3 weeks passed in a rhythm that began to feel natural. Amara woke early, helped Lily Rose get ready for school, tackled household organizational projects, and spent her afternoons preparing for the upcoming court hearing. Patricia was relentless in building the case, gathering evidence and testimony. Nicole had agreed to help. The phone call had been tearful and difficult, but her cousin had been brave. "I'm sorry I didn't do more," Nicole had sobbed. "I was scared. But I can't let him do this to you." Now Nicole was providing detailed records of her uncle's financial misconduct, evidence of meetings with Richard Pemberton, even recorded conversations where Warren Johnson openly discussed forcing Amara into marriage for business gain. The case was getting stronger every day. Your uncle made a critical mistake, Patricia had told her during their last meeting. He documented everything. He thought his position as trustee made him untouchable. He was wrong. Amara's days fell into a comfortable pattern. Mornings with Lily Rose, who chattered constantly and showed Amara everything from her favorite hiding spots in the garden to her collection of smooth river stones. Afternoons organizing, managing schedules, even helping Jackson sort through his business correspondence. "You're too good at this," Jackson had said one afternoon, watching her efficiently categorize his emails. "I might not be able to let you go even when this is all resolved." The comment had been light, teasing, but it made Amara's heart skip. Over the weeks she'd gotten to know him better. His terrible jokes that made Lily Rose groan. His habit of reading before bed. The way he rubbed his left temple when he was stressed. How he always made time for his daughter, no matter how busy his day was. And she'd noticed the way he looked at her sometimes, when he thought she wasn't paying attention. Like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. Or maybe like she was something precious he was afraid to touch. Tonight was different though. Tonight Jackson had invited her to accompany him to a charity gala. "It's for the Children's Hospital," he'd explained. "I go every year. Trevor will be there and some board members I need to see. I could use your company. If you're comfortable with that." Are you asking me as your date?" Amara had asked, suddenly nervous. "I'm asking you as my friend. Who happens to live in my house. Who happens to be excellent company." He'd smiled. "Is that okay?" So here she was, standing in her room, looking at the royal blue dress Mrs. Chen had somehow procured. It was beautiful, elegant without being overly formal, with a fitted bodice and flowing skirt that hit just below her knees. Mrs. Chen had also provided heels and simple jewelry. Amara studied herself in the mirror. She looked different. Healthier. The strain and fear that had marked her face 3 weeks ago were gone. She'd gained back weight she'd lost in the months of stress. Her hair, which she'd been neglecting, was now styled in soft curls. She looked like herself again. Or maybe a new version of herself. A knock on her door made her turn. "Come in." Jackson entered and stopped short. "Wow. Is it too much?" Amara asked, suddenly self-conscious. "No. It's perfect. You're perfect." He seemed to realize what he'd said and cleared his throat. "I mean, you look really nice." He looked more than nice in his tailored charcoal suit. He looked devastating. Amara felt her face warm and looked away. "Mrs. Chin is staying with Lily Rose," Jackson said. "We should probably go soon. The event starts at 7. In the car, a sleek black sedan driven by Jackson's occasional driver Marcus, Amara felt her nervousness increase. "I'm not good at these fancy events. My parents took me to a few fundraisers when I was younger, but I was always awkward." "Just be yourself," Jackson advised. "That's more than enough." The gala was held at a beautiful hotel downtown, the ballroom decorated with twinkling lights and elegant floral arrangements. Music played softly as guests mingled, dressed in formal wear. Amara felt overwhelmed by the crowd, the noise, the sheer wealth on display. Jackson kept his hand at the small of her back, a gentle, steady presence. He introduced her to people as, "my friend Amara," and she appreciated that he didn't try to explain further. Some people looked curious but no one asked intrusive questions. Feeling touched by this story? Don't just keep scrolling. Hit that subscribe button to see how Amara's journey continues. And tell me in the comments, would you trust someone you barely knew the way Amara is learning to trust Jackson? Your engagement helps this story reach more people who need to hear it. Trevor Banks, Jackson's business partner, was a tall man with silver hair and a calculating expression. He shook Amara's hand politely but she caught the assessing look in his eyes. "Jackson tells me you're helping him get organized," Trevor said. "That's quite a feat. I've been trying to get him to hire a proper assistant for years." "Amara's more than an assistant," Jackson said, his voice carrying an edge. "She's family." Trevor's eyebrows rose but he didn't comment. Instead, he launched into a discussion about the Singapore deal, which Jackson politely but firmly deferred. "Not tonight, Trevor. Tonight is about the hospital." They made their way through the crowd, Jackson stopping to chat with various board members and donors. Amara noticed how easily he moved in this world, confident but not arrogant, generous with his time and attention. She also noticed the number of women who looked at him with clear interest, some even approaching to flirt openly. Each time, Jackson politely redirected the conversation and then returned his attention to Amara. "Sorry about that," he murmured after one particularly persistent woman. "Susan has been trying to set me up with her daughter for months." "You're quite the catch," Amara teased. Single father, successful businessman, great house. Is that all I am? A checklist of desirable traits. Of course not. You also make terrible jokes. He laughed, a real, genuine laugh that made people nearby turn and smile. Okay, you got me there. Dinner was served at round tables decorated with fresh flowers. Amara found herself seated between Jackson and a kind older woman named Margaret who ran a literacy program. They talked easily about books and education, and Amara found herself relaxing. You have a good head on your shoulders, Margaret said. And you clearly care about making a difference. If you ever want to volunteer with our program, we'd love to have you. I'd like that, Amara said, meaning it. She'd been so focused on survival that she'd forgotten about contribution, helping others, making the world a little better. Her parents had always emphasized service and she'd lost that somewhere along the way. After dinner there was dancing. Amara watched couples move across the floor, feeling a wistful tug in her chest. She'd always loved to dance but hadn't done it in years. Dance with me, Jackson said, appearing at her elbow. I'm not very good. Neither am I. We'll be terrible together. He led her onto the floor as a slow song began. His hand settled on her waist and she placed hers on his shoulder. They moved together, not smoothly but comfortably, finding their rhythm. Thank you for coming with me tonight, Jackson said quietly. I wasn't looking forward to this event, but having you here made it nice. Nice. Amara repeated, smiling. That's quite the endorsement. Better than nice. It made it bearable. Enjoyable even. I'm glad. They swayed in silence for a moment. Around them, other couples danced, lost in their own worlds. The music was soft and romantic, the lights low. Amara felt Jackson's thumb trace a small circle on her back, probably unconsciously. The gesture sent warmth through her entire body. Amara, he began, then stopped. What? Never mind. It can wait. But she saw something in his eyes, something intense and uncertain. Tell me. He pulled back slightly to look at her. This thing between us. Whatever it is. I'm not imagining it, am I? Her breath caught. No. You're not imagining it. I don't want to rush anything. You're dealing with so much. And I'm still figuring out how to live without Claire. How to be a single father. How to be myself again. But I can't deny that you've become important to me. To us. To our family. You're important to me too, Amara whispered. You saved me. Literally saved my life. And these past weeks, I felt more at home with you and Lily Rose than I have anywhere since my parents died. So what do we do about it? I don't know. Take it slow? See where this goes? I don't want to mess anything up. Especially not for Lily Rose. Neither do I. So we take it slow. We keep building this, whatever this is. And we don't put pressure on it to be anything more than what it naturally becomes. I can do that, Amara agreed. The song ended and another began, more upbeat. They stayed on the floor, their dancing becoming less formal, more playful. Jackson twirled her, making her laugh. She stepped on his foot accidentally, and they both dissolved into giggles like teenagers. Trevor appeared at the edge of the dance floor, looking amused and slightly exasperated. Jackson, the hospital director, wants to speak with you about your donation. Can it wait? Not really. He's leaving soon. Jackson looked at Amara apologetically. Give me 10 minutes. Take your time. I'll be fine. She watched him walk away, already missing his presence. She made her way to the bar and ordered sparkling water, not wanting alcohol to cloud her judgment tonight. As she waited, a man approached. You're with Jackson Montgomery, aren't you? He was middle-aged, well-dressed, with calculating eyes that made Amara immediately uncomfortable. I'm a friend of his, yes. Richard Pemberton. He extended his hand. Amara's blood turned to ice. She didn't take his hand. I know who you are. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Then you know we have unfinished business. We have no business at all. Your uncle is very worried about you. Running away was childish. It's time to come home and fulfill your obligations. My only obligation is to myself. And I'm not going anywhere with you. You think Montgomery can protect you? He's a businessman. He understands deals. Maybe we can make one. There is no deal. Leave me alone. Richard stepped closer, dropping his voice to a threatening whisper. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Your uncle controls your money. Without his cooperation you have nothing. Is that really what you want? To be a charity case, living off Montgomery's pity? Amara felt anger rise, hot and fierce. For 3 months, this man and her uncle had made her feel powerless. But she wasn't powerless anymore. She had Jackson, Patricia, a legal case, and most importantly, she had her voice back. "I'd rather have nothing than be married to you," she said clearly. "And you're wrong about Jackson. He doesn't pity me. He respects me. Which is something you'll never understand. We'll see about that. When you're broke and desperate, you'll come crawling back. If you come near me again, I'll call security. And my lawyer will add harassment to the charges we're already bringing against you and my uncle." Richard's expression darkened. "You're making enemies you can't afford." "No. I'm standing up for myself. Now leave." He stared at her for a long moment, then turned and walked away. Amara realized her hands were shaking. She set down her water glass before she dropped it. Jackson appeared at her side moments later. "Are you okay? You're white as a sheet." Richard Pemberton was just here. Jackson's expression went cold. "What did he say?" She told him everything. Jackson's jaw clenched tighter with each word. When she finished, he took out his phone. "I'm calling Patricia. We need to document this. And we're getting that restraining order expedited. He's just trying to scare me. And it worked. Look at you, you're shaking." Jackson put his hands on her shoulders, his touch gentle but grounding. "Amara, this is serious. He approached you at a public event to threaten you. That's not okay. I handled it though. I didn't back down. I know. And I'm proud of you. But you shouldn't have to handle it alone." He pulled her into a hug right there in the middle of the gala. Amara melted into his embrace, letting his strength steady her. "Can we go home?" she asked quietly. "Absolutely. Let me say quick goodbyes and we're out of here." 20 minutes later, they were in the car heading back. Amara watched the city lights blur past the window, feeling drained. The high of the evening, the dancing, the connection with Jackson, all of it had been overshadowed by Richard's appearance. "I'm sorry," Jackson said. "I shouldn't have left you alone. You didn't know he'd be there. It's not your fault. Still, from now on, if we go anywhere public, we make sure you're not exposed like that. I can't hide forever." "No. But you can be smart until the legal stuff is resolved and you have protection in place." When they got home, Mrs. Chin reported that Lily Rose had gone to bed an hour ago without any problems. Jackson thanked her and she left, heading to her own apartment above the garage. Amara kicked off her heels with relief, her feet aching. Jackson loosened his tie, looking tired. They stood in the entryway, neither quite ready to go their separate ways. "Want some tea?" Jackson offered. "That sounds perfect." In the kitchen, they moved around each other comfortably, Jackson starting the kettle while Amara got mugs from the cabinet. It was domestic and easy, a routine they'd fallen into over the past weeks. "Tonight was good until it wasn't," Amara said, sitting at the kitchen table. "I had fun. I liked talking to Margaret. I liked dancing with you. But then Richard had to ruin it." "Yeah." Jackson brought the tea over and sat across from her. "Patricia will handle him. The restraining order will go through. We have witnesses to tonight's harassment. This actually helps our case." "I know. I hate that he can still make me feel small. Like I'm back in my uncle's house with no options." "You're not small. You're one of the bravest people I know. You hid in a shipping crate to escape. You're rebuilding your life from scratch. You stood up to Richard tonight without anyone's help. That's not small, Amara. That's courage." She looked at him across the table, this man who had somehow become her anchor. "I don't feel brave. Brave people rarely do. They just do what needs to be done despite being scared." "Is that how you felt when Claire was sick?" Jackson was quiet for a long moment. "Yes. I wasn't brave. I just kept going because stopping wasn't an option. Lily Rose needed me. Claire needed me. So I pushed through even though inside I was falling apart. You're braver than you give yourself credit for too. Maybe we're both doing our best with hard situations. Maybe." They sipped their tea in comfortable silence. Finally, Amara stood. "I should get to bed. Long day tomorrow." Jackson walked her to the stairs. At the bottom, he caught her hand. "Amara? Thank you for telling me about Richard right away. For trusting me with that. Of course. We're in this together, right? Right?" He leaned in and pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. It was chaste, simple, but it made Amara's heart race. When he pulled back, their eyes met and held. "Good night," he whispered. "Good night, Jackson." In her room, Amara changed out of the beautiful blue dress and into comfortable pajamas. Through the wall, she heard Jackson moving around, getting ready for bed. The sound was comforting, a reminder that she wasn't alone. She climbed into bed and picked up her phone, now equipped with a new number. There was a text from Patricia. Documented tonight's incident. Restraining order hearing moved up to Friday. You did good standing up to him. Another text from Nicole. Uncle Warren knows where you are. He's planning something. Be careful. Amara's stomach clenched. She should tell Jackson. But he was probably already asleep, and she didn't want to worry him more tonight. She'd tell him in the morning. She set the phone aside and turned off the light. Tomorrow they'd deal with whatever her uncle was planning. Tonight, she'd just let herself feel grateful for this place, these people, this unexpected family that had formed around her. And she'd let herself admit, just to herself in the darkness, that she was falling for Jackson Montgomery. Despite the timing, despite the complications, despite every logical reason she shouldn't. Her heart didn't seem to care about logic. It just kept leading her toward him. Morning arrived with rain pattering against the windows. Amara woke to find a text from Jackson. Stay in bed. I'm making breakfast. We'll bring it up. She smiled at her phone, warmth spreading through her chest. 20 minutes later, he appeared with a tray loaded with pancakes, fresh berries, and coffee. You didn't have to do this, Amara protested, sitting up in bed. I wanted to. Lily Rose is at a sleepover at her friend Emma's house, and Mrs. Chen has the day off. So it's just us. He set the tray on her lap, then hesitated. Can I sit? Of course. He settled at the foot of her bed, watching her take the first bite. Did you sleep okay after last night? Eventually. Jackson, Nicole sent me a message. My uncle knows I'm here. He's planning something. Jackson's expression hardened. What kind of something? She didn't say. Just that I should be careful. Then we'll be careful. Aunt Patricia's hearing is in 2 days. Once that restraining order is in place, they can't come near you. What if they try something before then? Then they'll regret it. Amara, I promise you, I won't let anything happen to you. She believed him. That was the strange part. After months of not being able to trust anyone, she trusted Jackson completely. It should have scared her how much she relied on him, but instead it felt right. Tell me about Claire, she said suddenly. If that's okay. Lily Rose talks about her, but you rarely do. Jackson was quiet for so long that Amara thought he might not answer. Then he started talking, his voice soft. We met in college. She was studying elementary education and I was in the computer science program. She was in the library one night, crying over a statistics assignment. I was terrible at talking to girls, but I sat down and offered to help. We stayed until the library closed, and by the end of the night, I knew I wanted to marry her. That's beautiful. She was beautiful. Not just physically, though she was that too. But her spirit, her heart. She saw the best in everyone. When I started my company and was working insane hours, she never complained. She just supported me, believed in me. Then when Lily Rose was born, watching her become a mother, I thought I couldn't love her more, but I did. His voice caught. When she got sick, it was sudden. Stage 4 cancer came out of nowhere. 6 months, they said. She lived for 8, but those last 2 months, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. She was in so much pain. But she never stopped thinking about Lily Rose, about making sure she'd be okay. Her last words to me were, take care of our baby girl. Not, I love you, or, I'm scared. Just making sure her daughter would be protected. Tears were rolling down Amara's cheeks. I'm so sorry. I was angry for a long time. At God, at the universe, at the unfairness of it all. She was only 31. We were supposed to grow old together. Instead, I was a widower at 33, raising a 4-year-old alone. But you did it. You're doing it. Barely. Trevor ran the company for the first year. Mrs. Chin basically raised Lily Rose. I was just present, going through the motions. It took a long time to feel like myself again. And honestly, I'm not sure I'll ever be exactly who I was before. Grief changes you. It does, Amara agreed. After my parents died, I felt like I was split in two. The version of me from before and this new, broken version. Are you still broken? Less than I was. Being here with you and Lily Rose is putting some of the pieces back together. Jackson moved closer, taking the breakfast tray and setting it on the nightstand. He took her hands in his thumbs tracing circles on her palms. I need to tell you something, he said. And I need you to just listen, okay? Don't respond yet. Okay. When you climbed out of that crate, terrified and desperate, something in me shifted. I thought I was done. Done with feeling, done with hoping, done with letting anyone new into my life. It was safer that way. Less painful. But then there you were, and Lily Rose declared you were a gift from God, and suddenly the house felt alive again. You brought light back into our home, Amara. Your laugh, your kindness, the way you are with Lily Rose. Even the way you organize my chaotic paperwork. He smiled. You've become essential to us. To me. Amara's heart was pounding. Jackson. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know. Because last night, dancing with you, holding you, I realized something. I'm falling for you. Maybe I've been falling since that first day. And I know the timing is terrible and complicated and there are a million reasons we should take this slow. But I can't not tell you. I can't keep pretending this is just about giving you a safe place to stay. It's more than that. You're more than that. She looked at him, this good man who had saved her, who made terrible jokes to make his daughter laugh, who still grieved his wife but was brave enough to open his heart again. And she felt the truth of her own feelings rise up, impossible to deny. I'm falling for you too, she whispered. I tried not to. I told myself it was just gratitude or circumstance or trauma bonding. But it's not. The way you show up for Lily Rose every single day. The way you listen when I talk. The way you make me feel safe and valued and like I matter. I'm falling for you, Jackson Montgomery, and it terrifies me. Why does it terrify you? Because what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? What if you're not ready? What if we mess this up and I lose you and Lily Rose in this home? I've lost so much already. I don't know if I can survive losing more. Jackson cupped her face in his hands. We might mess up. We probably will at some point because that's what people do. But we'll figure it out together. That's what's different this time. You're not alone. I'm not alone. We have each other. Promise me something, Amara said. Promise me we'll be honest. If something's wrong, if this is moving too fast or not working, we talk about it. We don't let things fester. I promise. Do you promise the same? Yes. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull back if she wanted. She didn't want to. She met him halfway, their lips touching softly at first, then deeper. The kiss was gentle and sweet and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. Wow, Amara whispered. Yeah. Wow. They kissed again, this time with more confidence. Jackson's hands tangled in her hair, and Amara pulled him closer, wanting to eliminate every bit of space between them. Rain continued to fall outside, creating a cocoon of sound that made the world feel very small and safe. When they finally broke apart, Jackson rested his forehead against hers. I should probably go before we get carried away. Probably wise. But I don't want to. Neither do I. He laughed and pulled back reluctantly. How about this? We spend the day together. Just us. No legal stuff, no stress, no responsibilities. We order pizza, watch movies, and just be. That sounds perfect. He stood and headed for the door, then turned back. Amara? This is real, right? I'm not imagining this. It's real. His smile was brilliant. Good. Eat your breakfast. I'll meet you downstairs in 30 minutes. After he left, Amara lay back against her pillows, touching her lips where his had been. This was happening. They were really doing this. It was fast and possibly reckless and definitely complicated. But it also felt inevitable, like they'd been moving toward this moment from the second that crate had opened. She ate her breakfast quickly, then showered and dressed in comfortable clothes, soft green sweatpants and a matching hoodie. When she came downstairs, Jackson was in the living room setting up the television. What are we watching? She asked, curling up on the couch. Your choice. I have streaming services for days. They settled on a comedy, something light and funny that didn't require much thought. Jackson sat beside her, not touching but close enough that she felt his warmth. Halfway through the movie, he put his arm around her shoulders. Amara snuggled into his side, feeling content in a way she hadn't felt in years. This is nice, she murmured. Very nice. They ordered pizza for lunch, extra cheese and pepperoni, eating it straight from the box while watching another movie. Jackson told her stories about Lily Rose's antics at school, and Amara shared memories of her childhood, the good times before her parents died. What was your favorite thing to do with them? Jackson asked. Sunday morning breakfast. My dad would make elaborate creations out of pancakes, animals and shapes and whatever we requested. My mom would read the paper out loud, sharing interesting articles. We'd spend hours at the table just talking and laughing. It was perfect. We should start that tradition here. Sunday breakfast with Lily Rose. You can teach me to make pancake animals. I'd like that. As afternoon turned to evening, they moved to the floor in front of the couch, surrounded by throw pillows. The third movie played on the screen, but neither was really watching. They talked about everything and nothing, sharing stories and dreams and fears. What do you want? Jackson asked. Long term. When all this legal stuff is resolved and you have your life back. I want to finish my MBA. Start that nonprofit I told you about. Help women who are in situations like mine. Give them resources and support. She paused. And I want a family. Someday. Kids and chaos and Sunday morning pancakes. That's a good dream. What about you? What do you want? Jackson thought about it. I want Lily Rose to grow up happy and secure. I want my company to keep thriving, but not at the expense of my personal life like it did before. I want to find balance. And I want to not be alone anymore. I want someone to share my life with, to build something new with. Someone specific? Amara asked, her voice teasing but hopeful. Maybe. If she's interested. I think she might be. He kissed her again, slow and deep. This time there was no hesitation, no holding back. They explored each other's mouths, hands wandering but staying respectful. When they finally broke apart, both were flushed and breathing hard. We should probably slow down, Jackson said, though he didn't move away. Probably, Amara agreed, but she was already leaning in for another kiss. The evening passed in a blur of conversation and laughter and increasingly heated kisses. By the time the sun set, they were tangled together on the couch, content to just hold each other. Lily Rose comes home tomorrow, Jackson said. We should probably talk about how we handle this around her. I don't want to confuse her. What do you want to tell her? The truth? That I care about you and we're seeing where this goes. She's 6. Will she understand that? She's 6, but she's perceptive. She already loves you. If anything, she'll be thrilled. As long as we're careful with her heart. Always. Jackson's phone buzzed with a text. He checked it and frowned. Patricia. She wants to video call. On a Sunday evening? Must be important. He set up his laptop on the coffee table and initiated the call. Patricia's face appeared on screen, and her expression was serious. Sorry to bother you after hours, she said. But we have developments. What kind? Jackson asked, his hand finding Amara's. Nicole provided additional documentation this afternoon. Emails between Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton that explicitly discuss forcing Amara into marriage. They outlined their plans to drain the estate once the marriage was finalized. It's damning evidence. That's good, right? Amara asked. Very good. I forwarded everything to the judge. I'm pushing for an emergency hearing tomorrow instead of Friday. With this evidence, I believe we can get immediate removal of Warren as trustee and grant you direct access to your funds. Amara's breath caught. Tomorrow? If the judge agrees. Which I think he will. This is an open and shut case at this point. Warren and Richard have dug their own graves. What do I need to do? Amara asked. Be ready to appear via video conference at 10 a.m. Dress professionally. Be prepared to answer questions about the coercion and your current living situation. I'll handle the rest. After the call ended, Amara sat in stunned silence. It could be over tomorrow. This whole nightmare could be over. How do you feel about that? Relieved. Scared. What if something goes wrong? Patricia doesn't lose. You heard her. The evidence is solid. But if I get control of the estate, if this is resolved, what happens next? Jackson pulled her close. What do you want to happen next? I don't know. I haven't let myself think that far ahead. Think about it now. If tomorrow goes well and you have your freedom and your resources back, what do you want? Amara looked around the beautiful living room, thought about Lily Rose's laughter, remembered the feeling of Jackson's arms around her. I want to stay, she whispered. Not because I have to, but because I choose to. I want to see where this goes. Is that crazy? Not even a little bit. They sat together in the growing darkness, holding each other as rain continued to fall outside. Tomorrow would bring answers, resolution, hopefully justice. But tonight they had this moment. This connection. This beginning. And that was enough. The morning arrived too quickly. Amara woke at 6, her stomach in knots despite the positive developments from yesterday. Today would determine everything. Her freedom, her future, her ability to truly move forward. She dressed carefully in a professional maroon blouse and black slacks, clothes Mrs. Chen had picked up for her last week. She applied minimal makeup and pulled her hair into a neat bun. Looking in the mirror, she saw a woman who was ready to fight for herself. Jackson knocked on her door at 7. Lily Rose just got home. She wants to see you before school. Downstairs, Lily Rose was at the kitchen table eating cereal, still in her pajamas from the sleepover. When she saw Amara, she jumped up and ran over for a hug. I missed you. Emma's house is fun, but I like home better. Did you and Daddy have fun yesterday? We did, Amara said, catching Jackson's eye over the little girl's head. We watched movies and ordered pizza. Without me. Lily Rose pouted. We'll have a movie night all together soon, Jackson promised. Now go get ready for school. The bus comes in 30 minutes. After Lily Rose ran upstairs, Jackson pulled Amara into a quick kiss. You're going to do great today. Just tell the truth. Patricia will handle the rest. Mrs. Chin arrived and started preparing breakfast, tactfully ignoring the obvious connection between Jackson and Amara. At 9:30, they set up in Jackson's study for the video hearing. Patricia appeared on screen first, looking professional and confident in a sharp navy suit. Remember, just answer the judge's questions clearly and honestly, Patricia coached. Don't elaborate unless asked. I'll object if anything inappropriate comes up. At exactly 10 a.m., the judge appeared on screen. Judge Martha Holland was a woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes. Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton were present via separate video feeds, each with their lawyers. Amara's uncle looked haggard and angry. Richard's expression was cold and calculating. Seeing them made her stomach drop, but Jackson's hand on her shoulder steadied her. This is an emergency hearing regarding the estate of Thomas and Jennifer Johnson, Judge Holland began. Ms. Reeves, you've made some serious allegations. I've reviewed your evidence packet. It's extensive. Yes, Your Honor. We have documented proof of coercion, financial misconduct, and conspiracy to defraud Ms. Johnson of her rightful inheritance. Warren's lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, my client has served faithfully as trustee for 3 months. These allegations are fabricated by a young woman who ran away from her responsibilities. Ran away from what responsibilities? Judge Holland asked dryly. Being forced into marriage? There was no force, Your Honor. Mr. Pemberton and Ms. Johnson had a courtship arrangement approved by her legal guardian. I'm 23 years old, Amara spoke up, her voice strong despite her nerves. Warren Johnson is not my guardian. He's the trustee of my parents' estate, a position he's abused. I never agreed to marry Richard Pemberton. I was threatened and coerced. Can you give me specific examples? The judge asked. Amara recounted the incidents, the meetings with Richard that made her uncomfortable, her uncle's increasing pressure, the final confrontation where she was told the wedding was scheduled regardless of her consent. Patricia presented the emails Nicole had provided, showing the conspiracy in black and white. Warren's lawyer tried to argue that the emails were taken out of context, but Judge Holland wasn't having it. Counsel, these emails explicitly discuss forcing Ms. Johnson into marriage for financial gain. There's no context that makes that acceptable. What about her current living situation? Richard's lawyer interjected. She's residing with a wealthy man. How do we know she hasn't been coerced or influenced there as well? Jackson tensed beside Amara, but Patricia smoothly addressed it. Ms. Johnson is living with the Montgomery family as a guest. Mr. Montgomery has provided temporary refuge while we sort out this legal matter. He has no financial stake in this case. Unlike Mr. Johnson and Mr. Pemberton, who stand to profit significantly from Ms. Johnson's continued subjugation. Mr. Montgomery, you're present, I see, Judge Holland said. Can you speak to Ms. Johnson's situation in your home? Jackson cleared his throat. Your Honor, Amara arrived at my home by accident. She was desperate to escape a dangerous situation. My daughter and I have provided her with a safe place to stay while the legal process unfolds. That's the extent of it. She's free to come and go as she pleases, makes her own decisions and has privacy and autonomy. And you expect nothing in return? Nothing beyond basic courtesy and respect, which she provides. Your Honor, I'm a father. If my daughter were ever in a situation like this, I'd hope someone would help her. The judge nodded thoughtfully. Ms. Johnson, what do you want to happen here? I want Warren removed as trustee. I want direct control of my parents' estate. I want a restraining order against both Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton preventing them from contacting me. And I want to pursue criminal charges for their attempted fraud and coercion. Warren's face turned red. You ungrateful little. Mr. Johnson. Judge Holland snapped. One more outburst and I'll hold you in contempt. Ms. Reeves, you're asking for immediate removal of trustee status. Yes, Your Honor. The evidence shows Mr. Johnson has violated his fiduciary duty in multiple ways. My client is a competent adult who should have control over her own inheritance. Agreed. Based on the evidence presented, I'm ordering the immediate removal of Warren Johnson as trustee. Full financial control of the estate will be transferred to Ms. Johnson within 72 hours. Mr. Johnson, you will provide a complete accounting of all estate transactions during your tenure. Any discrepancies will be investigated. Warren's lawyer tried to object, but the judge continued. I'm also granting a temporary restraining order preventing both Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton from contacting Ms. Johnson directly or indirectly. This includes phone calls, emails, text messages, social media, or approaching her in person. A permanent order will be determined at the hearing scheduled for next month. Amara felt tears of relief streaming down her face. Jackson squeezed her shoulder. As for criminal charges, Judge Holland said, that's not within my jurisdiction, but I'm forwarding this case to the district attorney's office for review. The evidence suggests possible fraud, coercion, and conspiracy charges may be warranted. Your Honor, this is outrageous. Warren shouted. That money was supposed to. Supposed to what, Mr. Johnson? Fund your business ventures? The money belongs to Ms. Johnson, and you had no right to try to steal it through a forced marriage. You should count yourself lucky you're not being arrested right now. The hearing concluded shortly after. When all the video feeds disconnected except Patricia's, Amara finally let herself sob. Jackson pulled her into his arms while Patricia beamed from the laptop screen. Congratulations, Amara. You're free. Thank you, Amara managed through her tears. Thank you so much. The hard part is over. We'll finalize everything over the next few weeks, but the immediate danger is past. Your uncle and Richard can't touch you now. After Patricia signed off, Jackson held Amara while she cried, releasing months of fear and stress. When she finally calmed down, he pulled back to look at her face. You did it, he said softly. You stood up to them and you won. We did it. I couldn't have done this without you. What happens now? Amara thought about it. She had her freedom back. In 3 days, she'd have access to her parents' estate. She could leave if she wanted to. Go back to her childhood home, restart her life, move on. But she didn't want to leave. I stay, she said. If that's still okay. I'd like to stay here at least for a while longer. See where things go with us. Help you and Lily Rose. Is that okay? More than okay. They were kissing when Lily Rose's voice came from the doorway. Are you guys boyfriend and girlfriend now? They jumped apart. The little girl stood there in her school clothes, backpack on, grinning widely. I thought you were at school, Jackson stammered. Bus was late. So are you? Boyfriend and girlfriend? Jackson looked at Amara, raising an eyebrow in question. She smiled and nodded. Yes, Jackson told his daughter. We are. Is that okay with you? Lily Rose jumped up and down. Yes. I knew it. I prayed for this. Can I tell Emma? Maybe let us figure things out first, Amara suggested gently. Okay. But I'm really happy. She ran over and hugged them both. This is the best day ever. The bus horn honked outside. Lily Rose grabbed her backpack and ran for the door. Bye. Love you. Love you both. After she was gone, Jackson and Amara looked at each other and laughed. Well, that's out in the open now, Jackson said. She's happy about it. She loves you. Has since day one. I love her too. And me? Jackson asked, his voice suddenly vulnerable. Is it too soon to ask that? Amara cupped his face in her hands. I love you. I know it's fast and crazy, but I do. I love you, Jackson Montgomery. His kiss was his answer, deep and passionate and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. I love you too, he whispered. So much. They spent the rest of the day together making plans. Amara would stay in the guest room for now, keeping things appropriate with Lily Rose around. But they'd continue building their relationship, seeing where it led. She'd work on finishing her MBA online while helping manage the household. Eventually, she'd start her nonprofit. You can use one of the properties in your parents' estate as an office, Jackson suggested. Turn it into a resource center. That's a good idea. As evening approached, they prepared dinner together. Something simple, just pasta and salad, but the act of cooking side by side felt significant. This was what she'd dreamed of, this casual domesticity, this partnership. When Lily Rose got home from school, she was still buzzing with excitement. Over dinner, she peppered them with questions about their relationship, when they decided they liked each other, if they'd get married, if Amara would officially be her new mom. Slow down, sweetheart, Jackson laughed. One step at a time. But you do like her a lot, right, Daddy? I like her very much. And Amara, you like Daddy? Very much, Amara confirmed. Then that means you'll probably get married eventually and I'll have a mom again. Jackson and Amara exchanged glances. This was the complication they'd worried about. Lily Rose getting her hopes up too high. Lily Rose, Amara said gently. Your dad and I care about each other. But marriage is a big step. We're taking things slow, getting to know each other better. Can you be patient with us? The little girl's face fell slightly, but she nodded. I can be patient. But I'm still really happy you're staying. After dinner, they watched a movie together. Lily Rose snuggled between them on the couch. It felt natural and right, like they'd been a family forever. When bedtime came, both Jackson and Amara tucked Lily Rose in. They read from The Secret Garden together, trading off paragraphs. Lily Rose's eyes grew heavy, and by the end of the chapter, she was nearly asleep. Good night, baby girl, Jackson whispered, kissing her forehead. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Amara. The little girl's eyes opened sleepily. I'm glad God sent you to us. You're the best gift ever. Amara felt her eyes fill with tears. Good night, sweet girl. In the hallway, Jackson pulled Amara close. She means it, you know. You really are a gift to us. You're both gifts to me too. They stood there, holding each other in the quiet house. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new adjustments as they figured out this relationship. But for now, they had this moment. And it was perfect. The next morning brought a phone call from Patricia. The bank has released the estate accounts. You now have full access to all your parents' assets, Amara. Sitting at the kitchen table with Jackson, Amara felt the weight of that statement. She was truly free. Financially independent. No longer dependent on anyone's goodwill or charity. Thank you, Patricia. For everything. My pleasure. Now there's one more thing. The district attorney wants to meet with you. They're considering criminal charges against Warren and Richard. Would you be willing to give a formal statement? Yes. Absolutely. After hanging up, Amara looked at Jackson. I need to go back to my parents' house. I've been avoiding it, but I can't anymore. There are things there I need, documents, memories. Would you come with me? Of course. They arranged for Mrs. Chen to pick up Lily Rose from school, then drove across the city to the neighborhood where Amara had grown up. The house was a modest colonial with a maple tree in the front yard. It looked exactly as she remembered, but somehow smaller. Using her key, they entered. The air inside was stale and dust covered everything. Warren had clearly not maintained the property. Amara walked through the rooms, touching familiar surfaces, remembering. This was the living room where we'd watch movies on Friday nights, she told Jackson. And here's the kitchen where my dad made his pancake animals. My room was upstairs. Jackson followed quietly, letting her process. In her childhood bedroom, everything was frozen in time. Posters on the walls, books on the shelves, her old desk where she'd done homework. I was happy here, Amara whispered. Before everything fell apart. You can be happy again. Different, but still happy. She opened her closet and found a box of photo albums. Her parents' wedding, her baby pictures, family vacations. She sat on the bed and started going through them, tears streaming down her face. Jackson sat beside her, offering silent support. I miss them so much, she sobbed. They should be here. They should have seen me graduate, start my career, get married someday. It's not fair. No, it's not. What if I can't do this? What if I mess everything up without them? Jackson turned her to face him. You won't. You're strong and smart and capable. Your parents raised you well. Their legacy lives on in you, Amara. In the woman you've become. I want to sell this house, she decided suddenly. I can't live here. Too many ghosts. But maybe I can use the money to fund my nonprofit. Turn their memory into something good. That's a beautiful idea. They spent the next few hours sorting through the house. Amara packed up items she wanted to keep, family heirlooms, photo albums, her mother's jewelry, her father's engineering awards. Everything else could be sold or donated. In her father's study, she found his business documents and was shocked at how much his shares were worth. Combined with the house value and her mother's family property, her inheritance totaled nearly $2.5 million. It was overwhelming. I don't need all this money, she said to Jackson. What do I do with it? Invest some. Use some for your nonprofit. Live off some. Donate to causes your parents cared about. You have options now. That's the gift they gave you. On the drive back to Jackson's house, Amara felt lighter. Returning to her childhood home had been painful but necessary. She'd said goodbye to that chapter of her life, acknowledged her loss, and decided to move forward. Thank you for coming with me today, she said. Always. Whenever you need me, I'm here. That evening, Nicole called. I heard the hearing went well. I'm so glad, Amara. Thank you for providing that evidence. You saved me. I should have done it sooner. I was just scared. Uncle Warren he's not taking this well. Has he threatened you? Not directly. But he's making my life difficult at work. I might need to find a new job. Come work for me, Amara offered impulsively. I'm starting a nonprofit to help women in crisis. I'll need staff and you understand what it's like to feel trapped. Plus, you're great with finances. Really? You trust me after I didn't help you earlier? You helped when it mattered. That's what counts. Think about it. I will. Thank you. Over the next few days, things settled into a new routine. Amara officially moved most of her belongings from storage into the guest room. She started taking online MBA classes again. She and Jackson began planning her nonprofit, researching similar organizations, figuring out funding and structure. Trevor stopped by one evening, ostensibly to discuss business with Jackson but really to assess Amara. They sat in the study while Jackson reviewed documents, and Trevor studied her with calculating eyes. So you're staying, he said. Not a question. I am. Jackson seems happy. Happier than I've seen him since Claire died. I'm glad. Don't hurt him. Or Lily Rose. They've been through enough. Amara met his gaze steadily. I have no intention of hurting them. I love them. Love isn't always enough. Maybe not. But it's a good start. Trevor seemed to accept that. His manner warmed slightly, and he began asking about her nonprofit plans. By the time he left, they weren't exactly friends, but the antagonism had faded. He's protective, Jackson explained after Trevor was gone. He helped me survive after Claire died. He sees himself as a guardian. I understand. I'd be suspicious too if the situation were reversed. The meeting with the district attorney happened later that week. Amara gave a detailed statement, and the DA assured her they had enough evidence to prosecute. Warren and Richard would face charges of fraud, attempted coercion, and conspiracy. This sends a message, the DA said, that you can't force people into marriages for financial gain. Your case will help protect others. As January progressed, Amara's life transformed. She had her freedom, her resources, a purpose, and a family. Jackson and Lily Rose had become her world and she theirs. One evening, Lily Rose brought up a school project. We have to write about our heroes. I want to write about Amara. Sweetheart, I'm not a hero, Amara protested. Yes, you are. You were really brave. You ran away from bad people and you didn't give up and now you're helping other people. That's a hero. Amara hugged the little girl tightly. Thank you. That means everything to me. Can I interview you for my project? I have to ask questions. Of course. They spent an hour together, Lily Rose asking about Amara's escape, her parents, her plans for the future. Her questions were surprisingly thoughtful for a 6-year-old. What's the most important thing you learned? Lily Rose asked. Amara thought carefully. That asking for help isn't weakness. It's courage. And that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who choose to love you and stand by you. Like you and me and Daddy? Exactly like that. Jackson watched from the doorway, his expression soft with love. Later, after Lily Rose was asleep, he found Amara in the living room. That was beautiful. What you told her about family. I meant it. You two have given me more than you'll ever know. We love you, Amara. Both of us. Completely. I love you too. So much. They spent the evening talking about the future. Jackson wanted to take things to the next level, maybe go on actual dates now that things had settled. Amara agreed. They'd been living together, building a relationship in the context of crisis. Now they could date properly, build something in calmer waters. Where would you want to go? Jackson asked. For a first official date? Somewhere normal. A movie? Dinner at a nice restaurant? I don't need fancy. I just want time with you. How about this Friday? I'll make reservations somewhere special. As February approached, Nicole called with good news. She'd quit working for Warren and was ready to join Amara's nonprofit venture full-time. Together, they began the real work of building the organization from the ground up. They named it New Horizons, a resource center for women escaping financial coercion and forced marriages. Using one of the properties from Amara's inheritance, they created a beautiful space with offices for counseling, legal aid, and financial planning. The grand opening was scheduled for March. Jackson helped with everything, providing business advice and connections. Lily Rose insisted on drawing pictures to decorate the walls. Even Mrs. Chen contributed, organizing a donation drive through her church. Life was good. Better than good. It was everything Amara had dreamed of during those dark months under her uncle's control. But she couldn't shake the feeling that it was almost too good. That something was waiting to disrupt this perfect new life she'd built. She tried to ignore the worry, to just enjoy her happiness. But late at night, lying in bed, she couldn't help wondering. What came next? The restraining order hearing was scheduled for the first week of March. Patricia had warned them it would be intense, but Warren and Richard would make their final arguments against the order becoming permanent. Amara dressed carefully that morning in a professional green suit. Jackson wore a charcoal suit, and even Lily Rose had insisted on wearing her fancy dress to court, a blue velvet dress with white tights. "Why is Lily Rose coming?" Amara asked as they drove to the courthouse. "She asked to. She wants to support you. I told her she doesn't have to testify or do anything scary. She just wants to be there." In the courthouse hallway, Amara saw her uncle for the first time since escaping. Warren looked older, haggard, defeated. Richard stood beside him, his expression blank. When Warren's eyes met hers, she saw hatred there. "You destroyed everything," he spat before his lawyer pulled him away. "He destroyed himself," Patricia said firmly. "Don't let him get to you." The hearing was more formal than the video conference had been. Judge Holland presided, listening to arguments from both sides. Warren's lawyer tried to argue that the restraining order was unnecessary, that his client had already lost his position as trustee and posed no threat. "My client admits his judgment may have been clouded by financial stress," the lawyer said. "But he never intended real harm. He believed he was protecting his niece's interests." "By forcing her into marriage?" Judge Holland asked dryly. "Please explain that logic." The lawyer floundered. Patricia presented additional evidence, including voicemails Warren had left for Nicole after the first hearing, threatening her job and promising revenge. "Your Honor, Mr. Johnson has demonstrated a clear pattern of intimidation and retaliation. Ms. Johnson deserves protection." Richard's lawyer took a different approach. "My client committed no crime. He was approached with a business opportunity. He can hardly be blamed for another man's misguided plans." "Except your client attended meetings where coercion was discussed," Patricia countered. "He knew Ms. Johnson was being forced into this arrangement. He not only participated, he enabled it." The hearing lasted 3 hours. Lily Rose sat quietly beside Jackson, coloring in a book he'd brought for her. Occasionally she'd look up at Amara and smile encouragingly. Finally, Judge Holland rendered her decision. "Based on the evidence presented, I'm making the temporary restraining order permanent. Warren Johnson and Richard Pemberton are prohibited from contacting Amara Johnson directly or indirectly for a period of 5 years. Violations will result in immediate arrest. Additionally, I'm ordering both men to pay Ms. Johnson's legal fees and court costs." Warren's face turned purple. "This is outrageous. She's my family." "Then you should have treated her like family, Mr. Johnson." This hearing is concluded. Outside the courthouse, Amara finally allowed herself to feel the full weight of relief. It was over. Really truly over. Her uncle couldn't hurt her anymore. Lily Rose hugged her tightly. "You won. The judge said they can't bother you anymore." "That's right, sweetheart. It's finally finished." They celebrated with lunch at Lily Rose's favorite restaurant, a cheerful place with excellent pasta. The little girl was animated, telling them all about the courthouse, the judge's fancy robe, the big desk. "When I grow up, I want to be a judge," she announced. "So I can help people like the judge helped Amara." "That's a wonderful goal," Amara said. "You'd be an excellent judge." Jackson reached across the table and took Amara's hand. "How do you feel?" "Free. Really, completely free. Like I can finally breathe." That evening, after Lily Rose was asleep, they sat together on the back porch overlooking the garden. Spring was coming and the first flowers were beginning to bloom. Amara thought about how much had changed since she'd arrived in that crate 4 months ago. "I never imagined this," she said softly. "When I climbed into that crate, I was just trying to survive the next day. I didn't think about what came after. And now I have everything I never knew I wanted. A family. A purpose. You." Jackson pulled her closer. "I'm glad you ended up here. I know the circumstances were terrible, but I can't regret how we met. You've changed our lives, Amara. Made us whole again. You've done the same for me." They sat in comfortable silence, just holding each other. After a while, Jackson spoke again. "I want to ask you something. And you can say no or say it's too soon. But I need you to know where my head is at." Amara's heart sped up. "Okay. I love you. Lily Rose loves you. This house, our life, it all feels complete with you in it. I know we've only been together officially for a couple months. I know conventional wisdom says we should wait longer. But I also know what I want. What we want." He pulled back to look at her face. "Amara Johnson, will you marry me?" "Not right away. Whenever you're ready. But I want you to know that's where this is heading for me. That's what I'm building toward. Tears filled Amara's eyes. Yes, I'll marry you. Maybe not tomorrow, but someday soon. Because I can't imagine my life without you and Lily Rose. He kissed her deeply, both of them crying and laughing at the same time. I don't have a ring yet. I wanted to ask first, make sure you were ready. I don't need a ring right now. I just need you. They held each other as the evening darkened, making plans for their future. A small wedding, intimate and meaningful. Maybe in the garden where Lily Rose and Claire had planted flowers. A honeymoon somewhere warm. A life built together, supporting each other's dreams. Should we tell Lily Rose? Amara asked. Tomorrow. Let's just have tonight for ourselves. The next morning they sat Lily Rose down after breakfast. She looked between them curiously. Did I do something wrong? No, sweetheart, Jackson assured her. We have something to tell you. Something good. What is it? I asked Amara to marry me, and she said yes. Lily Rose's eyes went wide. Then she started screaming with joy, jumping up and down, running in circles. Really? Really? Amara's going to be my new mom? If that's okay with you, Amara said carefully. I know I can never replace your first mom, but I'd love to be a mom to you if you'll have me. Lily Rose threw herself into Amara's arms. Yes. This is the best day of my whole life. Can I help plan the wedding? Can I be a flower girl? Can I tell everyone at school? One thing at a time, Jackson laughed. And yes, you can definitely be our flower girl. The engagement transformed something in their household. Before, Amara had been a guest, someone temporarily living there. Now she was family. Permanent. They began making long-term plans, talking about room arrangements, discussing whether to look for a new house or renovate the current one. I like this house, Amara said. It has good energy. We could add on instead of moving. An addition could work. Maybe expand the kitchen and add an office for you? New Horizons officially opened in late March. The event was well attended, with local media coverage and community support. Nicole managed the office brilliantly, and they'd already helped 3 women escape dangerous situations. Amara spoke at the opening, telling her story. 4 months ago, I was desperate and scared, hiding in a shipping crate to escape. Today I'm here because people believed in me, supported me, and helped me rebuild. That's what New Horizons is about. Giving women the tools and support to escape financial coercion and build new lives. Nobody should have to hide in a crate to be free. The room erupted in applause. Jackson and Lily Rose watched from the front row, beaming with pride. That night, Jackson presented Amara with a ring. It was beautiful but not ostentatious, a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. It reminded me of you, he explained. Strong and beautiful and unique. Amara slid it onto her finger where it fit perfectly. I love it. I love you. They set a wedding date for June, giving them time to plan something meaningful but not overly elaborate. Lily Rose took her role as flower girl very seriously, practicing walking slowly and trying to perfect her flower tossing technique. As spring progressed, Amara felt her life finally settling into place. The legal issues were resolved. Her nonprofit was thriving. Her relationship with Jackson deepened every day. Even her relationship with Lily Rose had evolved into something beautiful and genuine. One evening, going through boxes from her parents' house, Amara found letters her mother had written her but never sent. Letters meant to be opened on important occasions. She found one marked, "For your wedding day." With shaking hands she opened it. "My dearest Amara," the letter began. "If you're reading this, it means I'm not there to celebrate with you. I'm so sorry for that. But I want you to know how proud I am of the woman you've become. You've always been strong, compassionate, intelligent. These qualities will serve you well in marriage. Remember to communicate, to forgive, to laugh together. Choose joy every day even when it's hard. And know that your father and I love you eternally. We're watching over you, celebrating with you, blessing your new beginning. Love always, Mom." Amara sobbed as she read, but they were healing tears. She showed the letter to Jackson, who held her as she cried. "They'd be so proud of you," he said. "Of everything you've accomplished. How you've turned tragedy into purpose." "I hope so. I hope they know I'm happy." They know. Somehow they know. The months flew by. Before Amara knew it, June arrived and their wedding day was here. The ceremony was held in the garden, exactly as they'd planned. About 50 people attended, friends and family and colleagues. Lily Rose was perfect as flower girl, walking slowly and carefully, tossing petals with great concentration. Nicole served as Amara's maid of honor, and Trevor stood up as Jackson's best man. Amara wore a simple ivory dress, elegant and comfortable. Jackson was devastatingly handsome in his suit. When she walked down the makeshift aisle on Trevor's arm, he'd insisted on the honor since her father couldn't be there. Jackson's eyes filled with tears. The ceremony was brief but meaningful. They wrote their own vows, promising to support each other's dreams, to be honest, to choose love every day. When the officiant pronounced them married, Jackson kissed Amara to thunderous applause. The reception was joyful and relaxed, exactly what they'd wanted. They danced their first dance to a song Claire had loved, Jackson's way of honoring his first wife even as he celebrated his new marriage. It felt right, acknowledging the past while embracing the future. Lily Rose gave a toast that had everyone crying. Amara came in a box, she said seriously. But she was really a gift. She made Daddy smile again. She made our house happy. And now she's my mom. Thank you, God, for sending her to us. As the evening wound down, Amara found herself standing in the garden with Jackson, watching their guests mingle. We did it, she said. We really did it. Any regrets? Not one. You. Only that I didn't find you sooner. We found each other exactly when we were supposed to. Neither of us was ready before. He pulled her close. I love you, Mrs. Montgomery. I love you too, Mr. Montgomery. Lily Rose ran over, her flower girl dress grass-stained from playing. Can I call you Mom now? Or do I have to wait? Amara's heart swelled. You can call me whatever feels right, sweetheart. Mom, Amara, whatever you're comfortable with. I want to call you Mom. Is that okay? More than okay. I'd be honored. The little girl hugged them both. Best family ever. As the sun set over the garden, Amara reflected on her journey. For months ago she'd been desperate, broken, terrified. She'd hidden in a shipping crate because it seemed like her only option. She'd had no idea that crate would deliver her to exactly where she needed to be. To a man who would save her and love her. To a child who would accept her and cherish her. To a home that would become her sanctuary and her future. She'd run from a forced marriage only to find her true marriage, the one she chose freely. The one built on love and respect and genuine partnership. Looking at Jackson and Lily Rose, her family now officially and completely, Amara finally understood what her mother had written. Choose joy. Even when it's hard. Even when the path is unclear. Choose joy and trust that you'll find your way. She had. Against all odds, she'd found her way home. 3 months after the wedding, Amara stood in the newly expanded home office, reviewing applications for New Horizons. The nonprofit had grown beyond her wildest expectations. They'd helped 23 women escape dangerous situations, providing legal support, financial counseling, and temporary housing. Amara, you have a call, Nicole called from the main office. It's a reporter from the State Journal. They want to do a feature on New Horizons. Amara took the call, scheduling an interview for the following week. Media attention meant more funding, which meant helping more women. It was exactly what she'd hoped for. That evening, she came home to find Jackson and Lily Rose in the kitchen attempting to bake cookies. Flour covered every surface and Lily Rose had chocolate on her nose. We're making you a surprise, Lily Rose announced, then immediately covered her mouth. Oops. I wasn't supposed to tell. It's not much of a surprise when the kitchen looks like a flour bomb exploded, Jackson said ruefully. But yes, we're celebrating. Celebrating what? Your success. New Horizons just got a major grant, right? That deserves cookies. Amara laughed and joined them, helping to salvage the cookie dough. As they worked together, she felt overwhelmingly grateful. This simple moment, baking cookies with her family on a Tuesday evening, was everything she'd never thought she could have. Mom, can I ask you something? Lily Rose said as they put cookies in the oven. Amara still felt a thrill every time Lily Rose called her mom. Of course, sweetie. At school we're doing family trees. And I want to put you on mine. But I also want to put my first mommy. Is that okay? Can I have 2 moms on my tree? Absolutely, Amara said, kneeling to be at eye level. Your first mom will always be part of your family, part of your history. I'm not here to replace her. I'm just lucky enough to be part of your family now too. So I can have both? You can have both. Love doesn't replace itself. It grows. There's room in your heart for everyone you've loved. Lily Rose hugged her tightly. You're really good at being a mom. Later, after Lily Rose was in bed, Jackson found Amara in their bedroom. They'd converted the master suite to include a sitting area where they could relax together in the evenings. You handled that beautifully, he said, pulling her close. The family tree question. I meant it. Claire will always be part of our family. I don't want Lily Rose to feel like she has to choose or hide her memories. I know. It's one of the many reasons I love you. They settled on the couch together, Amara tucking her feet under her. Jackson, I've been thinking. We have this big house, and now that we've expanded it, we have even more space. What if we used some of it to provide temporary housing for women from New Horizons? Just until they get on their feet. Jackson considered this. That's a big step. It would change the privacy and security of our home. I know. And if you're not comfortable with it, I understand. But we have resources. We could help people in immediate danger. Let me think about it. I'm not saying no. But I need to consider what it means for Lily Rose's safety and stability. Of course. That's fair. Over the next few weeks, they discussed the idea in depth. Jackson talked to Trevor, who surprisingly supported the concept. You already run a non-profit out of one of your properties, Trevor pointed out. This is just an extension of that mission. They decided to convert the detached garage apartment, where Mrs. Chen had her space, into a more substantial two-bedroom unit. Mrs. Chen agreed to move into one of the expanded rooms in the main house, and they renovated the garage space to provide temporary housing for up to 2 families at a time. We'll have clear rules, Jackson insisted. Security protocols, vetting processes, time limits. I want to help, but I also want to protect our family. Agreed completely. The renovation took 2 months. During that time, New Horizons continued to grow. The media feature brought in donations and volunteer applications. They hired 2 more counselors and expanded their legal aid program. Amara reconnected with Margaret, the literacy program director she'd met at the gala. They began collaborating, with New Horizons clients attending literacy classes and Margaret students learning about financial literacy and legal rights. In August, they hosted their first 2 families in the renovated apartment. Single mothers, both escaping financial coercion similar to what Amara had experienced. Lily Rose was thrilled to have other children to play with, though they maintained careful boundaries about privacy and family space. This is good, Jackson said one evening, watching the children play in the garden. Scary but good. We're making a real difference. Because you were willing to take a risk. Not everyone would open their home like this. I learned from the best, he said, kissing her forehead. You took a risk getting into that crate. Sometimes risks lead to beautiful things. As fall approached, Amara finished her MBA. The graduation ceremony was small but meaningful. Jackson, Lily Rose, Nicole, and Mrs. Chin all attended, cheering loudly when her name was called. What's next? Jackson asked at the celebration dinner afterward. You've accomplished so much already. I want to expand New Horizons to other cities. Maybe franchise the model or create a network of similar organizations. There are women everywhere who need this kind of support. That's ambitious. I learned ambition from my husband, she teased. The man who built a tech company from his college dorm room. Fair point. That night, lying in bed, Amara reflected on her journey. It had been 8 months since she'd arrived in that crate, terrified and desperate. In that time, she'd gained a family, started a nonprofit, completed her degree, and found purpose in helping others. What are you thinking about? Jackson asked, his arm around her. How much life can change. How one desperate decision led to everything I have now. No regrets. Not a single one. You. Only that we didn't take more honeymoon time. A weekend wasn't nearly enough. We can fix that. Maybe during Lily Rose's winter break, we take a real vacation. The 3 of us. I'd like that. They planned a trip to Disney World for December, Lily Rose's dream destination. She was beside herself with excitement when they told her, already making lists of rides she wanted to try. New Horizons continued to thrive. By October, they'd helped 37 women and their children. Some moved on to independent living. Others needed longer-term support. But all of them found resources, legal help, and community. Amara was invited to speak at a national conference on domestic and financial abuse. Her story, combined with New Horizons' success, made her a sought-after speaker. She traveled to 3 different cities that fall, sharing her experience and encouraging others to start similar programs. You're becoming famous, Jackson teased after one particularly well-received speech. My wife, the advocate. I'm not famous. I'm just loud about something important. Same thing really. One evening in November, Amara received an unexpected call. Hello, is this Amara Montgomery? Yes, speaking. This is Susan Barnes from the Governor's Task Force on Family Justice. We'd like to invite you to join our advisory committee. Your work with New Horizons has caught the Governor's attention, and we believe your perspective would be valuable in shaping policy. Amara was stunned. Yes. I'd be honored. She told Jackson the news that night. He swept her up in a hug, spinning her around. This is huge. Do you realize what this means? You'll be helping create statewide policy. Laws that protect people. It's overwhelming. You can handle it. Look at everything you've already accomplished. The advisory committee met monthly, and Amara threw herself into the work. She collaborated with lawyers, social workers, and other advocates to draft legislation protecting people from financial coercion and forced marriages. It was challenging, complex work that required her to learn about legal and political processes. But it was also incredibly fulfilling. By December, their vacation arrived. Disney World was everything they'd hoped for. Lily Rose's joy was contagious as she met her favorite characters, rode roller coasters, and ate too much cotton candy. Amara and Jackson enjoyed seeing the park through her eyes, everything magical and new. On their last evening, after Lily Rose had fallen asleep exhausted in the hotel room, Jackson and Amara sat on the balcony overlooking the lights. This has been perfect, Amara said. Exactly what we needed. We should make it a tradition. Annual family vacation, just the three of us. I'd like that. Jackson was quiet for a moment. Amara, I want to ask you something. And again, you can say no or say it's too soon. Her heart sped up. Okay. How would you feel about expanding our family? Having a baby? Amara turned to look at him, surprised. Really? You want another child? I do. If you do. I love being a dad. And watching you with Lily Rose, seeing what an incredible mother you are. I'd love to have a baby with you. But only if that's something you want. Amara thought about it. She'd always wanted children someday, but she'd been so focused on survival and then on rebuilding that she hadn't let herself consider the possibility. But now, with her life stable and settled, the idea appealed to her. Yes, she said softly. I'd love to have a baby with you. His smile was brilliant. Really? Really? Maybe we wait until spring? Give me time to transition some of my New Horizons responsibilities to Nicole, make sure everything's stable. Spring sounds perfect. They kissed as fireworks lit up the sky behind them, the perfect ending to a perfect vacation. When they told Lily Rose on the plane ride home, she was ecstatic. A baby brother or sister? Really? This is the best news ever. Can I help pick the name? We're not pregnant yet, sweetheart, Amara cautioned. We're just talking about maybe trying for a baby. You'll be pregnant soon. I can feel it. And I'm going to be the best big sister ever. Back home, life returned to normal. The holidays approached, and Amara threw herself into making them special. It would be their first Christmas as a married family, and she wanted it to be memorable. They decorated the house together, Lily Rose insisting on putting the angel on top of the tree. They baked cookies with Mrs. Chen, went ice skating, and attended the school winter concert where Lily Rose sang Jingle Bells with her class. On Christmas Eve, after Lily Rose was finally asleep, Jackson and Amara sat by the tree, drinking hot chocolate and enjoying the peaceful moment. This is everything I never knew I wanted, Amara said softly. This house, this family, this life. Me too. When Claire died, I thought this kind of happiness was gone forever. But you brought it back. Brought us back to life. We brought each other back. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the lights twinkle on the tree. Outside, snow began to fall, covering the garden in white. What do you think next year will bring? Jackson asked. Hopefully a baby, Amara said, smiling. More growth for New Horizons. Maybe some policy wins on the task force. More moments like this. Sounds perfect. And it was. As the year ended and a new one began, Amara felt deeply, profoundly grateful. She'd escaped a nightmare and found a dream. She'd hidden in a crate and discovered a family. She'd lost everything and gained more than she'd ever imagined. The journey had been terrifying and painful and hard. But every step had led her here, to this moment, to this life, to these people she loved beyond measure. She wouldn't change a thing. Spring arrived with a burst of color in the garden. The flowers Claire and Lily Rose had planted years ago bloomed enthusiastically, as if celebrating the joy filling the Montgomery home. Amara stood at the window of their bedroom, one hand on her slightly rounded belly. 6 weeks pregnant, confirmed just yesterday. She and Jackson had told Lily Rose last night, and the little girl had cried happy tears before insisting on talking to the baby through Amara's stomach. I'm going to teach you everything, Lily Rose had whispered to the barely there bump. How to paint and read and find the best hiding spots in the garden. You're going to love it here. Now, watching the sunrise, Amara felt profound contentment. 1 year. It had been exactly 1 year since she'd climbed into that shipping crate, desperate and afraid. 365 days that had completely transformed her life. Jackson came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. What are you thinking about? How much has changed? How grateful I am. We're the grateful ones. You saved us just as much as we saved you. There was a soft knock on the door and Lily Rose peeked in, still in her pajamas. Can I come in? Of course, sweetheart, Amara said. The little girl ran over and hugged them both. I had a dream about the baby. I think it's a girl. And I think we should name her Hope. That's a beautiful name, Jackson said. But we don't know if it's a girl yet. It is. I know it. Lily Rose looked up at Amara with absolute certainty. Hope, because that's what you brought us. Hope. Amara felt tears prick her eyes. We'll definitely consider it, baby. Later that day they drove to New Horizons for a special event. The organization was celebrating its 1-year anniversary, and local officials would be attending, including the governor. The center was decorated with balloons and banners. Over 100 people filled the space, women they'd helped, volunteers, donors, community members. Nicole had organized everything perfectly, down to the catering and speeches. The governor spoke first, praising New Horizons' work and announcing a state grant to help expand the program. Then Amara took the podium, looking out at all the faces. 1 year ago today I was hiding in a shipping crate, she began. I was scared, desperate, and I'd lost all hope. I didn't know where I was going or what would happen next. I just knew I had to escape. She saw some of the women in the audience nodding, recognizing their own stories in hers. That crate brought me to the Montgomery family. Jackson and Lily Rose saved my life that day. They gave me shelter, support, and eventually love. They showed me that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who choose to stand by you, to fight for you, to believe in you when you can't believe in yourself. She gestured to the room around them. New Horizons exists because of what I learned in those early days. That asking for help isn't weakness. That you don't have to face financial coercion alone. That there are people who care, resources available, legal protections you can access. We've helped 49 women and 63 children in our first year. That's 49 stories of courage, of survival, of rebuilding. The room erupted in applause. Amara waited for it to quiet before continuing. But we're not done. This year we're expanding to 3 more cities. We're launching an online resource center so women anywhere can access information. We're working with the governor's task force to strengthen laws protecting people from financial coercion. And we're here every day ready to help the next person who walks through our doors. She looked at Jackson and Lily Rose, standing at the side of the room. I want to thank my family for their unwavering support. My husband Jackson, who took a risk on a stranger in a crate and changed both our lives. My daughter Lily Rose, who declared me a gift from God and loved me from day one. And my parents, Thomas and Jennifer Johnson, whose values and legacy guide everything I do. As she stepped down from the podium, the room gave her a standing ovation. Women she'd helped came forward to hug her, to thank her, to tell her about their new jobs, their new apartments, their new lives. One woman, Maria, pulled Amara aside. I came here 3 months ago with nothing. Just me and my 2 kids, running from my ex-husband who controlled all our money. You helped me get a restraining order, taught me about financial independence, connected me with resources. Today I start my new job as a bank teller. I have my own apartment. My kids are thriving. You saved us. You saved yourself, Amara corrected gently. You made the choice to leave, to fight for your children, to rebuild. I just provided some tools. Tools I couldn't have found alone. Thank you. As the event wound down, Trevor approached Amara. Over the past year, he'd gone from skeptical to supportive, even joining New Horizons advisory board. You've done something remarkable here, he said. Jackson's lucky to have you. We all are. Thank you, Trevor. That means a lot. I wanted you to know, I'm setting up a foundation to provide ongoing funding for New Horizons. Anonymous donation, substantial enough to ensure long-term stability. Amara was stunned. Trevor, that's incredibly generous. It's an investment in something that matters. You've proven this model works. Now let's make sure it can keep working. That evening back home they celebrated quietly. Mrs. Chen made Amara's favorite dinner, and they ate together in the kitchen, the most comfortable room in the house. Big day, Jackson said, raising his water glass. To Amara and New Horizons. 1 year of changing lives. To family, Lily Rose added. And to baby Hope. We haven't decided on the name yet, Amara protested, but she was smiling. But it's perfect. Hope is what you gave us. And hope is what the baby will bring. Amara looked at Jackson, who shrugged. She makes a good argument. If it's a boy? Amara asked. Then we'll figure something else out. But it's a girl. I know it. After dinner they all went to the garden. The space had become even more beautiful over the past year, with new plantings and a small pond Jackson had added. They sat on the bench watching the sun set, Lily Rose between her parents. I want to tell you both something, Amara said. Something I've been thinking about. What is it? Jackson asked. I want to create a scholarship fund. In my parents' names. For young women pursuing business degrees or nonprofit work. Give them opportunities, support their dreams. That's beautiful, Jackson said. Your parents would love that. I was also thinking, the house where I grew up, the one we sold? A family is living there now with 3 kids. I drove by last week and saw them playing in the yard. My mom always said that house was meant to be full of laughter and children. I'm glad it is again. You've made peace with losing it? I haven't lost it. The memories are still mine. And now that house is making new memories for another family. That feels right. They sat in comfortable silence, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. Lily Rose eventually fell asleep, her head on Amara's shoulder. Jackson carefully carried her inside and put her to bed. When he returned to the garden, Amara was still sitting on the bench, one hand on her belly. Jackson sat beside her and took her other hand. Do you ever think about that day? He asked. The crate day. Sometimes. Less now than I used to. At first, I'd have nightmares about being trapped in the dark. But those faded. I think about it often. How easily we could have missed each other. If the delivery had been scheduled for a different day, if Lily Rose hadn't insisted on looking in the crate, if I'd called the police instead of helping you myself. But you didn't. You saw someone in need and you helped. That's who you are, Jackson. That's why I love you. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. Scares you how? Because I've already lost someone I loved. I know how quickly everything can change. How fragile happiness is. Amara turned to face him fully. Then we appreciate every day we have. We don't take anything for granted. We choose each other every single day and we build a life worth living. He kissed her softly. Sounds perfect. As the weeks passed, Amara's pregnancy progressed normally. She continued working at New Horizons, though at a reduced pace. Nicole took on more leadership responsibilities, proving herself more than capable. The task force work continued, and in May, they successfully passed legislation strengthening protections against financial coercion and forced marriages. The law, informally called Amara's Law by the media, would help countless people. How does it feel? Jackson asked the night the bill passed. Having a law named after you? Surreal. But good. Like my parents' deaths and my own struggles, led to something meaningful. Like it wasn't all for nothing. Summer arrived with heat and humidity. Amara, now 6 months pregnant, spent most of her time in air conditioning. Lily Rose was devoted to the baby, talking to Amara's belly constantly and reading stories to her future sibling. I can't wait to meet you, Lily Rose would say, her small hand on Amara's stomach. I'm going to be the best big sister. I'll protect you always. In August they had a small baby shower. Friends from New Horizons, neighbors, family. Margaret from the literacy program brought books. Trevor brought practical gifts like diapers and wipes. Nicole gave them a beautiful handmade quilt. I made it myself, Nicole said shyly. Took me 3 months. But I wanted the baby to have something special. Amara hugged her cousin tightly. It's perfect. Thank you for everything. For being brave enough to help me, for standing by me, for being part of this journey. You changed my life too, Nicole said. Gave me purpose and showed me I could stand up for what's right. As September approached, Amara went into nesting mode. She and Jackson set up the nursery in the room next to Lily Rose's, painting it a soft yellow with white trim. They assembled the crib, stocked shelves with tiny clothes, and hung the mobile Jackson's mother had sent. It's really happening, Amara said, standing in the finished nursery. We're going to have a baby. Terrifying, right? The best kind of terrifying. Labor started on a Monday morning in early October. Amara woke to contractions and gently shook Jackson awake. It's time. He shot up, immediately alert. Time? Like time? Like time. Call Mrs. Chin to stay with Lily Rose and get the hospital bag. 3 hours later they were in the delivery room. It was long and painful and exhausting, but Jackson stayed by her side the entire time, holding her hand, encouraging her, reminding her to breathe. You can do this, he kept saying. You're the strongest person I know. Finally, at 4:47 p.m., their daughter was born. 7 pounds, 3 ounces with dark hair in Jackson's eyes. She screamed lustily, announcing her arrival to the world. "She's perfect," Amara sobbed, holding their daughter for the first time. "Absolutely perfect." "What's her name?" the nurse asked. Amara looked at Jackson and they both smiled. "Hope," they said together. "Hope Jennifer Montgomery." "Hope for what she represents," Jackson explained. "And Jennifer for Amara's mother." When they brought Hope home 2 days later, Lily Rose was waiting at the door, practically vibrating with excitement. "Can I hold her? Please?" They settled on the couch, carefully placing Hope in Lily Rose's arms with plenty of support. The 7-year-old looked down at her baby sister with pure wonder. "I hope. I'm your big sister Lily Rose. I've been waiting forever to meet you. I'm going to teach you so many things. And I'm going to protect you always. Just like Mom protected me and Dad protected both of us. We're a family and families love each other forever." Amara felt tears stream down her face. This moment, this perfect, beautiful moment, was everything. Her daughter holding her new baby sister. Her husband beside her, his arm around her shoulders. Their family, complete and whole and full of love. That night, after Hope was fed and sleeping in her bassinet, Jackson and Amara lay in bed exhausted but happy. "1 year ago, I was pregnant and we were planning for this moment," Amara said. "And now she's here. Our daughter. Hope." "2 daughters," Jackson corrected. "Don't forget Lily Rose." "Never. She'll always be my first daughter, no matter what biology says." "You're an amazing mother, Amara. To both of them. You're an amazing father. And husband. And person." They lay in comfortable silence, listening to Hope's soft breathing from the bassinet. Finally, Jackson spoke. "Thank you for getting in that crate." Amara laughed softly. "That's probably the strangest thank you I've ever received. I'm serious. If you hadn't been brave enough to hide in that crate, we never would have met. Lily Rose and I would still be going through the motions, existing but not really living. You brought us back to life, Amara. You brought Hope back to this house. Our daughter's name is perfect because that's exactly what you are. Hope. You brought Hope back to me too. And love. And family. And purpose. So we saved each other. We did. And now we get to raise these beautiful girls together, build this life together, face whatever comes together. Forever," Jackson promised. "Forever," Amara agreed. As she drifted off to sleep, exhausted from labor and overwhelmed with love, Amara thought about her journey. From desperate young woman hiding in a crate, to wife and mother with a family and purpose. From victim to advocate. From broken to whole. The path had been terrifying. But every hard moment had led her here, to this perfect life she never could have imagined. She'd lost her parents, faced betrayal and coercion, experienced fear and desperation. But she'd also found love. Real, true, lasting love with a man who saw her, valued her, cherished her. She'd found a daughter who accepted her immediately and loved her unconditionally. She'd found purpose in helping others escape situations like hers. And now she had a new daughter, a tiny perfect human to raise and love and guide. Outside, the wind rustled through the garden where Claire and Lily Rose's flowers bloomed. Somewhere, Amara liked to think, her parents and Claire were watching over them all, blessing this beautiful, chaotic, perfectly imperfect family. She'd hidden in a crate to escape a nightmare. And she'd found a dream instead. A dream of family, love, purpose, and hope. A dream that would last forever.